Live na tayo, sir.
Okay. So, hintay ulit tayo ng viewers.
Opo. Ayan, sir.
Yan.
Kita tayo, viewers. Pag mo nagalawin, sir. Dito ko na.
Okay, so sorry kanina, nagkaroon ng technical difficulties. I think bug yan sa isang app. Akala ko dahil sa TikTok ko na may heart win, oops, no, walang oops. Walang heart pala, no? Kaya siguro nag-bug. So again, pasensya. So this is a part of the new normal, mga sinasabing technical difficulties. Okay, so if you're ready, magsimula na tayo para hindi tayo gabihin. So around 3 hours, kaya ready? Go! Good day, Rio babies, wherever you are. Sanang lupalop ng mundo kayo naroroon ngayon. Sana ay nasa maganda kayong kalagayan. And hopefully, hindi pa kayo nag-give up kung ano man yung mga pangarap ninyo that would include to become a certified public accountant. Okay, so welcome dun sa sa free webinar ng or brought to you by Rio. Ngayon, we will discuss some of your requested topics. Kaya lang hindi natin i-discuss ng buong buo kasi kulang yung oras natin. So parang ano lang po ito, no? Introduction or yung iba more on basics, and yung objective natin is syempre, to go into the basics and hopefully makatulong sa inyo para mas madaling maunawaan yung mga topics na mga ito, no? So ngayon, yung isa sa requested topics niya is actually foreign currency denominated transactions, okay, which is magiging part ito ng hedging ninyo. Okay. So hopefully you're doing good dyan, ha? So pakihanda na yung mga dapat ihanda, pakihanda yung tenga, tama ba? Okay, para maunawaan natin. Kung gusto niyo mag-notes, you can prepare your notes. Okay, para kung may mga kailangan kayong isulat natin. Okay, or yung calculator din kung andyan. Okay, so paki-prepare na din, no? So yung objective natin dito sa webinar nito is to discuss yung mga basic terminologies, okay, mga foreign currency denominated transaction, and we will introduce yung foreign operation FS translation, and of course, introduction to FS restatement. Actually, no, maraming nagsasabi na mahirap daw ang Forex. So pag sinabing ano yung isa sa mahirap? Forex. Okay. And yung isang reason na nakikita ko is ayaw kasing aralin ng iba yung basics. Yan yung isang reason, no? Ayaw aralin yung basic. Okay, pangalawang rason is nakikiuso yung iba. Sabi ng classmate, mahirap yung Forex. Ikaw din naman, nakikigaya ka. Sabi, mahirap din. Di ba? So yun yung isang pangalawa, no? Okay. Pangatlong rason kung bakit nahihirapan yung iba is actually meron kasing tatlong rule. So we have 3 set of rules or 3 set of accounting issue. That would be yung transaction, yan yung una. Okay, and ano yung pangalawa? So syempre yan yung translation, so transaction, okay, tapos translation, tapos restatement. So magkakaiba kasi yung rule ng mga yan. Kaya dapat simulan mo sa basics, okay? Kabisaduhin mo yung rule, and then pag okay ka na sa basics, alam mo na yung rule, nadidistinguish mo yung tatlong subtopic niyan, then mapapadali yung buhay natin sa topic na ito, no, sa Forex. And of course, you have your basic derivatives and then hedging. So bale, yung mga accounting standards na madadaanan natin na PFRS number 9 para dun sa basic derivatives at saka sa hedging. And then you have your PAS 21 para dito sa transaction and translation. And yung PAS 29 para dito sa FS restatement. So medyo madami-dami po yung mga standards na madadaanan natin. Okay, ngayon, so simulan na natin dun sa transaction. Kaya lang, again, bago yung transaction, tingnan muna natin yung mga basic terminologies. Ano mga kailangan mong malaman, okay, bago ka mag-solve. So hindi pwedeng diretso magsusolve tayo nang hindi man lang natin alam yung mga basic terminologies or mga basic concepts. Okay? So, unang pag-usapan natin is yung different types of currencies. Tama? Currency. Okay, ngayon, you have your local currency. So when you say local currency, that will be a currency in a particular locality or normally particular country yan. Okay? So kunyari, dito sa Philippines, ano yung local currency natin? What's our local currency? Is that Philippine peso? No. Okay? Yung local currency natin dito sa Pilipinas ay Chinese yuan. Okay. So of course, Philippine peso talaga, no? May nabasa kasi akong article, sabi niya, China is willing to share the Philippines to the Filipino people. Hindi wow, di ba? So anyway, yun ang local currency natin, Philippine peso, no? Pero kung sakaling nagkataon, sinakop tayo ng China, no? Naging province na tayo ng China. Okay. Malamang yung mga existing na laws and regulation natin, mababago yan. Baka sabihin na lang, ay lahat ng singkip tax-free. Siyempre, pasingkit tayo lahat, no? Tawa? Okay. So, ganda, no? That's your local currency. Another currency that you need to know is the functional currency. And by definition, functional currency is the currency in the primary economic environment in which the entity operates. So, kung napansin mo, ano yung nilagay natin dyan? P. Ano yung P na yan? Primary economic environment in which the entity operates. And normally, yan yung currency in which that company spends, okay, or receives yung cash. Okay? And maraming factors yung pwedeng maka-apekto nito. No? So, syempre, madali lang yan for some companies. Kaya lang, pag multi or international yung operation mo, okay, posibleng may mga issues dyan. Kasi dito sa Pilipinas, di ba? So, primary economic environment in which the entity operates. So, pag ba nagbabayad ka, pumupunta ka sa karinderya, okay, pumupunta tayo sa department store, or kunyari may nagpautang ka or natanggap mo yung bayad ng utang mo, ano bang nare-receive mo at ano bang binibigay mo? NOx. Okay, US dollars? Hindi, di ba? Peso. Kaya functional currency natin dito sa Pilipinas ay peso. Sa Pilipinas yan, functional currency is peso. Okay. Ngayon, posible ba yung isang company, yung functional currency niya ay other than peso? The answer is yes, pwede yon. Yung company, hindi yung Pilipinas. So yung company, pwedeng functional currency niya is other than peso. Paano nangyari yon? So posible kasing iset niya na ay lahat ng yung ibibill ko sa mga customer ko, yung sisingilin ko is denominated in US dollars. Pwede yon. Kahit nandito siya sa Pilipinas, pwedeng i-set niya, okay, na yung currency na dapat matanggap niya would be based dun sa kanyari US dollar. So yung functional currency niya would be dollar. And there are some companies, okay, mga US subsidiary or foreign subsidiary nandito sa Pilipinas, okay, especially yung mga nasa PEZA, yung mga ibang companies dyan, yung ini-impose nilang currency is yung currency ng parent nila. Okay, so pwedeng mangyari yun, ha? So that would be yung functional currency. So yung isang observation natin dito, local currency and functional currency may be the same. Pwedeng magparehas. Pwedeng parehas. Okay? Another currency that you need to determine is obviously yung, you need to know is yung presentation. Okay. Bago yung presentation, so sige, foreign currency muna. So yung foreign currency, this is defined as currency other than yung functional currency. Kaya kunyari, yung company, yung functional currency is Philippine peso, okay, all other currency that will be considered as foreign currency. Parang tayo dito sa Pilipinas, ano ba yung local currency ng Pilipinas? Which is the functional currency ng Pilipinas? Peso. So other than Philippine peso, that would be foreign currency. And of course, Mexican peso, foreign currency yan, okay, US dollars. So that would be some of the examples of foreign currency. Okay, another is you have your presentation currency. And when you say presentation currency, that is the currency in which you are required, required, or you opted to present your FS. So paano required? Tas may option. So required para dun sa mga government regulators, diba? So if you submit your FS to the SEC, to the BIR, definitely that should be in Philippine peso. Okay? And then yung isa naman, option. Okay, although syempre, kunyari Philippine company ka, you want to present your FS in US dollars, okay. So syempre, so long as merong gagamit. Kasi magsasayang ka pa ng oras na i-convert yan into dollars na wala naman palang gagamit. Okay, so ganun siya, no? So optional. Okay, kung may gagamit, gagamitin mo yung ibang currency or yung required, yun yung sinasubmit natin sa mga government regulators. At saka ako, kung user ako ng FS dito sa Pilipinas, most likely yung gusto kong makita is naka-Philippine peso. Okay, so that would be yung presentation currency. And another currency that you will encounter is you have your pseudo currency. Pero normally, madadaanan natin ito kung i-discuss natin yung hyperinflation. An example of pseudo currency, that will be your GPI, General Price Index, which is based dun sa CPI-U, Consumer Price Index Urban. Okay? And napakadaming currencies actually, no? You have your cryptocurrency, meron ng interpretations yung PAC natin doon, di ba? Okay, how to account cryptocurrency such as bitcoins, and then there are a lot of currency. Pero basically for PAS 21 as well as yung hedging yung mga currency na kailangang kabisado mo is itong 5 ito. Right? So kung kabisado mo na yung mga currency, pag-usapan naman natin yung exchange rate. So by definition, exchange rate, ano ba yung exchange rate? So ratio of conversion of one currency into another currency. Tama ba? So yun yung definition. Okay, di ba? US dollar to peso. Okay, so Mexican peso to euro. Okay, so ganun yung example ng exchange rate. And then of course, yung exchange rate na yan, dalawa po yung pwedeng quotation yan. Okay, so yung quotation, pwedeng direct, pwedeng indirect. Okay, so pwedeng direct, and then pwedeng indirect. So tingnan natin. So yung number 1 na ito, sabi niya, 1 unit of FCU is expressed in terms of local currency unit. So yung FCU na yan, foreign currency unit yan, ha? Yung LCU, local currency unit, although medyo nag-adjust nung nilipat ko yung slide natin. So LCU ito, no? LCU, local currency unit. So itong first quotation nito, pag naka-1 yung foreign currency unit, this is direct quotation. So ilagay mo, this is direct. Okay, so yung number 1 natin, that would be direct quotation. Okay, samantalang yung second, yun. Ayusin natin para kita. So this first one, that is direct. Okay, so pag naka-fixed yung foreign currency unit, that is direct quotation. And then ito naman, pag naka-fixed yung local currency unit, okay, is to a number of yung foreign currency units, that is indirect. And would it matter kung direct yung quotation or indirect yung quotation? Obviously, the answer is yes. Okay, so pag nagsasolve ka, dapat pag nakita mo yung rate na binigay, alam mo agad-agad kung direct yan or indirect. Okay, so say for example, you have 1,000 US dollars. You want to convert it into peso. So pag i-convert natin yan, okay. Sige. Bago muna yan, so ito so example ng direct, that is 1, naka-fixed yung foreign currency unit, tapos variable is itong peso. So yung peso na to, pwedeng magbago yung tumaas, pwedeng bumaba, or pwedeng tumaba. Alright? Okay. Yung indirect naman, ano yung naka-fixed? Yung local currency natin dito sa Pilipinas, which is the peso. Okay, so yung pabago-bago naman is, aside from yung X mo, okay, itong foreign currency units. So pag meron kang 1,000 US dollars, you want to convert that into peso, what will happen? Ano mangyayari? Okay, pag direct, ayan, 1,000 times 50, that's 50,000. Pag indirect naman, okay, 1,000 US dollars divided by 50, that is 50,000 pesos pa rin. So ano yung napansin natin? Okay, bakit nagmamatter yung direct at saka indirect? Pag direct, anong ginamit mo? Times, diba? Multiplication, so times. Okay, samantalang yung ginamit mo pag indirect, that would be your divide or division. Divide, no? Okay, so ganun na, pag nakita mo direct, multiply mo. Pag nakita mo indirect, i-divide mo. If yung given is foreign currency units. Alright? So yun yung gamit ng quotation na yan. Ngayon, pag tumaas yung direct quotation, kunyari lang, sample lang natin kasi may mga iba nalilito dito Pag tumaas yung direct quotation, anong nangyari sa purchasing power ng peso? Kunyari, 1 US dollar naging 60. What happened to the purchasing power of the peso? Ano po? Lumakas? Lumakas ba? Strong? Ano ba yung strong? Or humina? So anong nangyari? Siyempre, from 1:50, tapos naging 1:60, the purchasing power of the peso weakens. Diba? Humina siya. Yung dollar naman, anong nangyari? Lumakas. Okay? So kung naalala mo pa, no? Nung time na 1:1. So para makabili ka ng isang dolyar, kailangan mo isang piso lang ngayon. To be able to buy $1, you need 50 pesos. Okay, so humina yung peso, lumakas yung dollar. How much more? Pag 60 pesos, kailangan mo to buy $1. So gano'n, no? Kasi minsan, ginagamit yan sa mga, or tinatanong din yan. Tinatanong yan. So if the purchasing power of the peso increased, and meron kang exposed liability, what will you report? Is it a gain or is it a loss? Yan ang mga possible na questions. Okay, at saka meron dati yung binabash si former President Pinoy, diba? Kino-compare kay President Duterte. Sabi niya, ang bobo daw talaga ni Pinoy. Kasi nung time ni Pinoy, 1 peso is to 30 to 40 pesos ata, parang gano'n. Tapos time ni Duterte daw, 1 peso is to around 50 pesos. Okay, so pinost niya sa Facebook, yung nangyari is binash tuloy siya. So yun yung isang nagpapatunay na little knowledge is dangerous. Little knowledge is dangerous, no? In the city board examination, ganun din, little knowledge is dangerous. So kung kulang yung knowledge natin, huwag tayong padalos-dalos, no? So mas maganda, huwag na lang mag-post. Okay? Anyway, so ganun yung concept niya. Now, since alam natin yung exchange rate, pag-usapan naman natin yung mga different types of rate. Different types of rate. Ang daming rates, no? Okay, so exchange rate, so ito naman yung mga different types of rate. So when it's a spot rate, that would be the exchange rate for immediate delivery. Or in short, that would be the exchange rate kung magkakaroon tayo ng transaction ngayon. That's the spot rate. And then when it's a current rate, so that would be the exchange rate ngayon. Tama? Exchange rate ngayon. So, pwede bang pareho yung spot rate and current rate? Yes. Okay? So, depende kung anong gamitin sa problem, ha? Or minsan, lalagyan yan, current rate, tas ilalagay yung date. So, that would be the spot, that is also the spot rate on that given date. Okay? Another is historical rate. So, that would be the exchange rate when the transaction took place. Pero teka, pag nagkaroon tayo ng transaction ngayon, di ba, current rate yan, spot rate ngayon. Kaya lang, hindi pa yan pwedeng tawagin na historical. So, syempre, the following day, di ba, nakalipas na, okay, that would be part of your history, just like your ex, di ba, naging part ng history mo. So, that would be yung historical rate. Kaya yung exchange rate kahapon and ng mga nakaraang araw, that would be yung historical rate. Kaya yung spot rate, current rate, historical rate, pwedeng pare-pareho pa yan. Okay? So yung nangyaring transaction kahapon, kung ano man yung exchange rate kahapon, that's the spot rate kahapon, current rate kahapon, and magiging historical rate natin ngayon. Di ba? That would be yung historical. Another is closing rate. And is the closing rate, that is the exchange rate on the balance sheet date. Kaya sa totoo lang, yung spot rate ng balance sheet date, yung current rate ng balance sheet date, that's also the closing rate. And kung yung transaction nangyari yan nung December 31, that's kunwari, yan yung balance sheet date. Okay, so syempre sa susunod na araw, magiging historical rate na din yun. So pwedeng magkakapareho pala yun, no? Pwedeng maging pare-pareho yung apat na rate na ito. Okay, but take note, pag sinabing closing rate, tapos translation yung pinag-usapan or accounting ng foreign currency denominated transaction, we're referring to the exchange rate, okay, on the balance sheet date. And as we all know, hindi lang naman December 31 ang balance sheet date. Ngayon, meron kasi yung closing rate na hindi yan yung exchange rate doon sa balance sheet date. So, papakita ko lang sa inyo. Hanapin ko. Yan. So, ito na lang para madaling i-navigate. So, kunyari, hanapin natin dito, no? US dollar versus PHP. Okay, so ito naman, Forex ito, no? So, if you'll observe, yung quotation na nakalagay dito is direct. Direct. Paano direct? Kasi nga, yung chart na to, no, naka-direct siya, kasi nga, yung pabago-bago is yung peso. So, ito, no, naging 49, tapos grabe, no, bumagsak. Anyway, So in a given day, pwedeng magbago kasi. Given trading day, pwedeng magbago yung exchange rate. So kunyari on this date, this is June 11, 2020. And kung napapansin niyo, naka-green kasi yung closing niya, closing during the day, yun yung isang closing, no? Na-exceed na yung opening. Kaya normally nangyayari dito pag green, so ito yung open niya, okay, ito yung low niya, ito, no? Tapos tumaas, okay, kaya lang dito siya nag-close. So ito yung closing niya pag green sa taas. Okay? Pag red naman, parang dito siya nag-open. Yun. Tumaas, tapos bumagsak hanggang doon, kaya lang nag-close siya somewhere dito. Okay, so red naman, no, pag mas mababa yung closing niya. Okay, so pwedeng ganun yung sa sinasabing closing. And if you'll observe here, no, so ito pala, no, open, low, tapos 52 week, or in 1 year yan, no, 52 weeks, 53 weeks, 52. So 52 high. So during the day, ito po yung ano, so open, low, high, and then this is the close. Okay? So, syempre, yung closing na tinutukoy is yung closing ng balance sheet day. Kaya kunyari, yung balance sheet day is March 31. So, asan yung March 31 dito? Tingnan natin. March 31. Ayun. Syempre, ito. March 31. So, if this is your balance sheet date, anong gagamitin mong rate dito? So, ito yon, yung closing neto. So, kasi sa isang araw, pwedeng gumalaw-galaw yan. Kaya lang, for translation purposes or accounting purposes, yung ginagamit natin is closing on that particular day. And kung nagkataon na yun yung balance sheet day mo, yun yung gagamitin mo. Alright? So let's go back dun sa PowerPoint natin. Nasa na yun? Okay. Gising pa kayo? Yes? Gising. Next, rate. Forward rate. So when you say forward rate, this is actually applicable to your forward contracts, derivatives, no? So this is a predetermined rate for exchange or delivery in the future. So parang naka-fixed siya ngayon, pero kailan ipapalit? Kailan magkakaroon ng settlement, ng bayaran in the future? Okay, kaya meron kang 90-day forward rate. So ibig sabihin nun, mangyayari yung palitan ninyo after 90 days. Kung 120-day forward rate yan, so syempre, 120 days pa bago yung actual na palitan ninyo. Alright? So that's the forward rate. Eh kung may forward rate, meron namang backward rate. Walang ganun walang backward rate. So, ito, you have future rate. Same din naman yung concept. You have your predetermined rate for exchange and delivery or delivery in the future. So, same lang naman ito sa forward rate. Yun nga lang, yung difference lang naman ng forward and futures, diba? Yung future traded siya, yung forward contract, hindi po yan traded. So, i-discuss din natin yan pagdating natin sa derivatives. Ano pa yung mga rates na kailangan nating tandaan? You have your average rate. Average rate. So, when you say average, ang daming average. Average in a day. Kaya lang, no? Going back dun sa pinakita ko sa inyo kanina, paano mag-determine ng average? So, yung gagamitin mo sa pag-compute ng average, yung closing ng each day, ha? So, kanyari, ito, March 16, ano bang closing nito? Around 51 something. So, yun yung gamitin mo. So, lahat ng closing ng bawat trading day na yan. Okay, kasi syempre, kung gagamitin mo yung or kung opening, sa bagay, pwede, basta consistent, opening, pero normally closing lang talaga yung basis. I-average yan. And anong klaseng average? Is it annual? Is it monthly? Is it weekly? Syempre, depende sa pangangailangan. Okay. So normally, pag volatile yung change, no, sa exchange rate, so sa tingin niyo ba yung exchange rate ng peso volatile ba? Volatile pag ganun-ganon. So kung gawin nating 10 years ito, volatile kaya sa tingin niyo? So mukhang volatile nga, di ba? So kung volatile yan, mas maganda yung average is closer. So the closer the better. So kunyari, sobrang wild ng fluctuation sa isang month. Then mas maganda gamitin mong average 1 month. Pero kung yung exchange rate naman ay hindi ganon ka-wild, medyo stable siya, then pwedeng mas malawak yung time frame. Kunyari, annually. And don't worry, sa problem solving, they will not require you to compute for the average. Grabe naman, ibibigay sa iyo yung closing rate bawat araw, tapos i-compute mo yung average. You cannot test yung knowledge ng isang tao, no? Pag kukomputin mo lang ng ganon. So normally, given yan sa problem, no? Pero just in case you're wondering, paano din i-determine yung average? Ganon. So tingnan lang natin, USD Euro. Yan, so ito naman yung exchange rate nila na medyo stable sa kanila. No? Although dito medyo bumagsak. Dito pala sa portion, medyo wild. Anyway, subukan natin lang yung indirect quotation. Ayaw niya. Ito kasi normally yung mas malakas na currency, dapat yun yung inuuna eh. So pag binaliktad mo yan, wala na. Okay, ayaw. Hindi lumalabas. Anyway, so let's go back. Saan yan? So napag-usapan natin is yung average rate. Normally given yan sa problem. Or kunyari, mag-compute kayo, dapat simple average lang. And how do you compute simple average? That's beginning plus ending times 234 over 468. Tama? Times 234 over 468. Yan yung bagong computation ng simple average. Ha? So 234 over 468. But obviously, alam niyo yan, di ba? 1/2 lang naman, or divide by 2 times 0.5 times 1 over 2. Okay, times 123 over 246. 1/2 lang din naman yan. So alam ko, marunong naman kayo sa math, di ba? Kaya nga kayo nag-accountancy kasi magaling kayo sa math. Okay. Pero sa totoo lang, magaling din tayo mag-calculator. Mas magaling tayo. Okay, 1 plus 1, 1 plus 1. Diba? Anyway, another rate. Actually, no, lahat ng rate na nakita natin dito, meron silang corresponding buying rate at saka selling rate. Lahat ito may buying and may selling, kaya may makikita ka na spot, na buying spot, selling spot. Diba? Buying forward, selling forward. Pero later, i-discuss natin yung buying at saka selling rate na yan, kailan dapat gamitin. Alright? So, bale, napag-usapan na natin is yung different types of currencies, exchange rate, and different types of rates. So, ano yung na-observe natin sa different types of rates? Yung mga ibang rates, pwedeng pareho. Spot, current, historical, pwedeng pare-pareho po yan, as well as yung closing. Okay? And actually, yung forward rate na ito, no? Forward rate at the date of yung kung kailan talaga magkakaroon ng settlement. So, magpapareho na din yan sa spot rate. Okay, so pwedeng gano'n, no? Ang daming pwedeng mangyayari. Kaya dapat kabisado natin yung mga rates kasi baka mamaya hinahanap mo. Hanapin ko daw yung closing rate. Eh wala namang binigay na closing rate. May nilagay lang na current rate tapos nilagyan ng date, December 31. Eh malamang, there's also the closing rate. So next na pag-usapan natin is dapat kabisado mo kung ano ang monetary and non-monetary. So i-define muna natin, ano ba yung monetary? So as defined in our standard, it includes units of currency held, hawak mo dapat okay, or kontrolado mo, not necessarily in your physical possession, pwedeng nasa bangko, and assets and liabilities to be received or paid in a fixed or determinable number of units of currency. So anong makikita natin? Units of currency, that is your money, and asset or liab na matatanggap or babayaran in fixed or determinable any units of currency. Okay. So dun sa definition pa lang, malalaman lang natin na monetary, asset, liab. And siyempre, philosophy yung standard natin, dinefine yung monetary, tapos sinabi na all others considered as non-monetary. Tama ba? Non-monetary na yung iba. Okay. So, kunyari, equity, parang lumalabas, non-monetary na yan kasi hindi naman siya asset, hindi naman siya liability. So, dun sa monetary asset natin, so obviously, you have your units of currency held. And then when you say currency, di ba? So, kahit ano po yan, it can be your coins or pwede pong yung bills. Okay, so yung currency may include yung coins at saka yung bills. No? So kung mapapansin mo dito, may mga coins, di ba? Na-feature ito, yung blue nito, no? Doon sa Jessica Soho. Naipon niya is parang 424,000 na. Grabe, no? Okay, ito naman, nag-alkan siya ng bills sa, ano ba to? Bamboo. Okay, inanay. Sayang lang, no? And ito, no, although maganda daw mag-alkansya ng ganito, it's okay to save. No? Sabi ng Bangko Sentral nga lang, wag daw yung coins, o wag ganitong napakarami kasi parang in a way, hinuhoard mo daw yung coins. So nababawasan mo yung nag-circulate sa economy. Okay. So ito muna, no? Coins. You have your coins and bills. So trivia lang. Anong nauna dun sa coins at saka sa bills? Anong nauna sa dalawa? Parang itlog manok yan. Anong nauna? Anong nauna sa coins and bills? Obviously, yung nauna dun sa coins and bills, sa yung coins. And almost all of you, merong coin purse. Yan yung evidence kung bakit nauna yung coins. Alright? Sa examples ng units of currency, of course, you have your cash on hand. So meron ba kayo niyan? Check. Very good. Okay, ano pa? So check natin. Baguhin natin yung kulay. Teka, ayaw magbago. So anyway, so that would be your cash on hand, then cash in bank, then so may mga bank account, and of course, hopefully, meron kayong ganito, no? Cash in tahan. Alright? Now, pag other assets naman, other than yung cash natin, okay, so you have your assets na marireceive in fixed currency units. So you have your accounts receivable, fixed ba yan? Yes. Fixed or determinable. Tama? And then ito, gusto ko lang i-note nyo na yung contra accounts kasama, ha? Kasama. So kung yung accounts receivable related dun sa, or allowance for bad debts is related dun sa accounts receivable. So this will be the principal account. No? Ito yung contra account niya, valuation account. So pareho lang sila, no? So monetary yung A or monetary din yung allowance for bad debts. This receivable, loan receivable, and then you have your FAAMO. Pati yung FAAMO, ayan. So financial asset at amortized cost. Okay, so naka-fixed ba yan? Actually, yes, no? Kasi FAAMO naka-fixed. Yung objective mo dyan is to receive yung contractual cash flows, yung principal and interest. Naka-fix naman yan, determinable naman yan, di ba? So that would be considered as a monetary asset. Pero dagdagan natin. Now, paano pag meron kang cash in a foreign bank restricted for use or restricted, okay? Restricted siya for withdrawal for, kunyari, 1 year. So meron kang cash in foreign bank na restricted. Is that monetary or non-monetary? Answer. Very good. Narinig ko kayo. Okay. Ano bang sagot natin? Or kunyari, meron kang cash set aside for acquisition of PPE within the next 3 months. Ano ba yan? Monetary or non-monetary? Sagot. Actually, wala tayong pakialam dun sa restricted or unrestricted na yan. Diba? Kasi nga, yun, mas relevant yan sa cash and cash equivalence classification mo. So dito, basta tandaan mo lang yung root word ng monetary. So ano ba yung root word ng monetary? Monet. Ay, hindi monet, di ba? Money. Okay. So syempre, pag money yan, or receivable in fixed amount of money, that is monetary. Monetary. Okay, so basta pag may pera ka, restricted man na yun, hindi, wala tayong pakialam. Monetary yan. Kaya nga, money. Right? And then pag payable in fixed amount of money, kahit ano pang money yan, mapa-foreign currency, kunyari meron kang 1,000 accounts payable, US dollars yon. Monetary ba yan? Kahit na yung equivalent ni in peso ay pwedeng magbago. Yan says yes, kasi basta naka-fix yan ng kahit anong currency. Kahit anong currency, that would be monetary. So these are examples of your monetary liability. Okay? And then general rule, no, sa kung mapapansin mo, general rule sa pagde-determine kung monetary or non-monetary yan. Okay, so di ba may common receivable, payable. Pag may nakita ka receivable, payable, anong iisipin natin? Is that debt security or equity security? Pag may nakita ka receivable, payable, normally debt securities yan. Kaya general rule, debt securities ay monetary. And equity securities naman ay non-monetary. General rule yun, ha? At saka ganito, so bale, tatlo. Gawin natin tatlo. General rule, debt securities, monetary. Equity securities, non-monetary. And pag may assets or liab na naka-fair value or similar to fair value such as NRV, fair value less cost to sell, recover, you have your value in use, okay, that would be non-monetary. Bakit? Kasi kung fair value less cost to sell yan, ewan natin kung magkano yung fair value ni in the future, di ba? So hindi po siya determinable ngayon. Kung hindi man siya, di ba dapat siya fixed or determinable. So kung hindi naka-fixed, determinable kaya hindi pa rin kasi hindi mo alam kung magkano yung fair value pag binenta mo yan. So yan yung tatlong rule natin sa pagde-determine kung monetary or non-monetary yan. So of course, all others that would be non-monetary kung hindi monetary. Okay. So pareho ba yung monetary at saka financial? May background music. Okay. So pareho ba yung monetary at saka financial? The answer is yun. So, para makita natin, no, kung pareho sila, yan, tingnan natin. Drawing tayo ng dalawang puso. Sabi ng background music, total eclipse of the heart, no? Pero partial eclipse po yan, ha? Partial eclipse. Okay? Bakit puso yung dinodrawing natin? Sa teka, ganito na lang. Mapapansin mo, mas maliit yung isang puso. Mas malaki yung isa. Alright? So dito sa dalawa, alin dito kaya yung financial? Alin ang monetary? Kasi sabi nga natin, mas malawak yung scope ng isa. Or actually, hindi pa natin sinabi, no? So, in between the two, no? May mas malawak yung scope. And alin ang mas malawak yung scope? Is it the financial or monetary? Obviously, yung financial. So, yung financial asset includes some of the monetary. Some, hindi lahat. Alright? So, yung left side niyan, yung mas malaking puso, that would be yung financial asset, financial liab. Okay? Ito namang mas maliit na ito, that would be your monetary or monetary asset. And then yung in between, so pareho silang financial and at the same time, monetary. Okay, so yung nasa labas ng, yung dito, no, doon sa yung overlap ng dalawang puso na ito. So dito, financial siya pero non-monetary. Dito sa gilid, this would be monetary but non-financial. Dito sa gitna, pareho silang financial and monetary. Okay, so sige nga, bigay tayo ng example, cash. Ano ang cash? Financial po ba ang cash? Yes. Monetary po. Obviously, money, di ba? So pag cash, that would be part of financial and financial and monetary. Another is financial asset at fair value through profit or loss. So financial asset at FVTPL. Financial po ba yan or non-financial? Very good. Anong sagot? Obviously, financial yung tawag na financial asset, fair value. Malamang financial. But the question is, monetary ba yan or non-monetary? That is non-monetary. Bakit non-monetary? Naka-fair value siya. Tama? At saka, although yung FVTPL pwedeng debt or equity securities yan, since naka-fair value, okay, kahit pa na debt securities yan, that is non-monetary. Pero financial siya. So same goes with yung FV through OCI, okay, pareho lang yung concept. Financial asset po yan, pero non-monetary kasi hindi naka-fixed or determinable yung matatanggap natin in the future. Another is accounts receivable. Accounts receivable, definitely financial and monetary. And then investment in associate, or lahat na ng investment in equity securities mo, financial yan. Kaya lang, naka-fixed ba yung matatanggap natin dyan pag binenta mo in the future? The answer is no. Kaya financial, pero non-monetary. Tama? Another is you have your FAAMO, Financial Asset at Amortized Cost. Actually, example natin kanina yan na monetary, kaya definitely pangalan pa lang, financial. So financial and at the same time, monetary yung FAAMO. Okay. And then another is PPE. So pag PPE, non-financial po yan. And then of course, that's also non-monetary. Okay. So yun yung PPE, tapos dito naman yung FAAMO, pareho silang monetary and okay, financial. Although technically, no, for disclosure purposes, di ba, there normally tatlo lang yung categories ng financial asset na kabisado natin. FAAMO, FVTPL, and then you have your FV through OCI. Kaya lang, yung i-disclose mo sa notes, okay, cash naman is financial asset. Saan siya kasama doon sa tatlo? Cash. Saan kasama yung cash doon sa FAAMO, FVTPL, FV through OCI? Saan kasama? Okay, kaya lang yung cash, hati natin. Cash on hand, cash in bank. Actually, cash in bank should be included as part of FAAMO. Cash in bank, ha? Tapos yung cash on hand, parang wala hindi papasok doon sa tatlong category. Kaya parang in a way, kung i-disclose mo yan sa notes mo, yung breakdown ng financial asset mo, cash on hand, FAAMO, FVTPL, and then FV through OCI. Alright? And of course, yung cash in bank na yun nakasama sa FAAMO. And normally, hindi po yan binabanggit sa inyo. No? Tapos later on, pag nasa practice ka, sasabihin mo, oo nga, no? Saan ba kasama dapat yan? So, ganun. Ano pa? You have your biological asset. Mga living plants and living animals. Mga living plants, buhay na halaman at saka mga buhay na kaaway. Living animals. Saan yun? So, pareho pong non-financial yan at, as well as non-monetary. Okay, so biological asset, asan ka na? Iyon. Another is you have your warranty payable. So, sa liability section naman, warranty, yung ibibigay mo is service, non-financial, tama ba? As well as, hindi naman naka-fixed yan in cash. So, parehong non-monetary, non-financial yan. Ano pa po? You have your SSS payable. SSS payable. Ano ba yung SSS payable? Determinable ba yung babayaran mo? Yes, merong table yan. So, ito yung salary base mo, ito yung amount ng babayaran. So, fixed ba yan? And pag nagbayad ka ba sa SSS, pwede bang ibayad mo yung mga manok? Pwede bang magbayad ng kalabaw? Okay, yung mga halaman? Hindi, di ba? So, payable ba yan in fixed amount of money? Yes, monetary ang SSS payable. Okay, monetary ba? Yes. Kaya lang, next question is, financial ba ang SSS payable? Is it a financial liability? Yes or no? Answer is no. Answer is no. Kaya monetary yan, pero non-financial. Kaya SSS and all yung statutory obligation mo, SSS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, tapos kung government, GSAS, that would fall under monetary but that is non-financial. And bakit non-financial? Kung naalala mo, ano yung recognition criteria ng financial assets sa PFRS 9? Ano yung recognition criteria? You recognize yung financial instrument when the entity becomes a party to the party. Tama? When the entity becomes a party to the kontrata. Ito, this is required under the law. Kung required under the law yan, hindi mo kailangan ng kontrata para maging liable ka dun sa SSS. Tama ba? So kung walang kontrata, that would fall under non-financial. Dapat kabisaduhin mo yung recognition criteria. Kasi dati-rate, probable, measurable. Okay, ano pa ba? Probable, measurable when the entity becomes a party to the contract, and then you have your relevant and faithfully represented. So far ngayon, no, kung aaralin mo yung standards natin as well as yung conceptual framework mo, parang tatlo na yung recognition criteria. No? Financial instrument, yan lang yung kakaiba, yung when the entity becomes a party to the contract, tapos yung conceptual framework, relevant and faithfully represented. And then of course, dun sa ibang standard na probable, measurable. Pero later on in the future, baka papalitan na din yung probable, measurable niyan. I-align yan sa conceptual framework na revised. Okay, derivatives, pag sinabing derivatives, financial asset ba yan? Yes. And then monetary ba yan? No. Okay? So, yun yung derivatives. And sa totoo lang, no, kung derivatives yan na hindi nakas-designate as hedging instrument, part yan ng FA, FVTPL. Tama? Okay? So, pwedeng kasama din yan dito, no? Derivatives, FA, FVTPL. Tapos yung cash in bank, kasama siya sa FAAMO. Okay? What else? Last na lang, deferred tax layab. Deferred tax layab. Deferred tax layab. So gawin mo, isulat mo deferred tax layab. Tapos kulayan mo ng gray. Or pwedeng ganito yung gawin natin. Sa deferred tax liability, tandaan mo lang si Catriona. Okay? So, gray area. Gray area. Catriona, gray area. Gray area yung DTL. Walang sinabi yung standard kung monetary or non-monetary. So, some would say na depende daw yan. So, if that's related to a monetary asset or liability, edi monetary din daw siya. Para lang sa classification ng pinanggalingan. Kasi, di ba, carrying value of the asset versus tax base, any difference multiplied by tax rate, so it can be deferred tax asset or deferred tax liability. So depende sa related na asset. Okay, yun nga lang, yung problema kasi dito is pag nakita mo lang sa problem, walang ibang explanation, sabi lang, deferred tax liability. So how will you determine kung related sa related sa monetary or non-monetary? Kaya kung kunyari multiple choice yan or multiple choice, tinatanong ka alin dito yung non-monetary, okay, or alin ang monetary, so check mo na lang yung intention based dun sa choices. Kasi kung ito lang yung kakaiba, no, kunyari tinatanong ay non-monetary, lahat ng choices nakita mo ay monetary, then malamang treatment it is non-monetary. So ganun ha. Okay, bakit natin pinag-uusapan yung monetary, non-monetary? This is relevant kasi dun sa accounting ng foreign currency denominated transaction as well as yung restatement ng financial statement. And some of your references sa translation, pwede rin, lalong-lalo na kung temporal yan, gagamitin mo din yung monetary, non-monetary. So ito yung mga basics na kailangan nating tandaan, no? So alam mo dapat yung different exchange rates, okay, and different exchange rates, currency, different rates, and then monetary, non-monetary. Pagkabisado mo na yan, pwede na nating i-discuss yung tatlong, okay, subtopic, no, pag pinag-usapan ng Forex. So then sa past 21, as I mentioned earlier, you have your foreign currency denominated, and let me emphasize, no, that should be foreign currency denominated. Kasi kung peso denominated yan, walang problema. Pera natin peso. Pinautang mo yung friend mo ng 1,000 peso. Magbabayad siya ng 1,000 peso. Kahit anong mangyari sa exchange rate ng peso against any other currency, yung babayaran pa rin naman ay peso. Pera mo is peso. So walang problema. Okay? So ito, dapat denominated siya in foreign currency. So kanari, Philippine company, o pwede bang bumili, pwede bang lalong-lalo na kung maraming transactions yan, no? Import-export, no? So syempre pwedeng denominated yan ng currency kung sino yung pinagbebenta niya or kanino siya bumibili. But take note, kunyari bumili ka sa Japan, pwede bang denominated yan other than Japanese yen? Yes. Okay, depende sa sa trip niyo. Bumili ka sa isang Japanese supplier, tapos sabi ng Japanese supplier, ay gusto ko bayaran mo ako ng dollar, pwede po 'yon. Pero normal na transaction, kung saan mo binili, most likely yun yung currency na gagamitin. Okay? And then you have your foreign operation FS translation. So this is the second subtopic. So when you say foreign operation, no, that is an operation in foreign country. Di ba yun ang sagot natin sa mga graded recitation, no? Babaliktarin mo lang yung mga words. And then foreign operation includes home office, hindi pala home office, no? It includes branch, okay, associate, subsidiary, or joint venture. So yun yung foreign operation. So kailangan nating i-translate naman yung FS. Kung mapapansin mo, yung first, yung transaction, ano lang yung concern mo dito? yung foreign currency denominated transaction. Ito namang pangalawa, anong concern mo? Buong FS ita-translate mo. Iba naman yung rule dyan. And pagdating naman dito sa, although hindi ko nilagay yung standard, that's past 29, okay, pag nakaka-experience ang isang economy ng hyperinflation, okay, anong gagawin sa FS? Buong FS i-restate. Kaya ito yung tatlong may accounting issue: transaction, translation, restatement. They have different rules. Dapat ma-distinguish natin yung rules for each item, and then i-apply natin later on. Okay, medyo mapapadali actually yung Forex. So, yun yung isang nakikita ko na solusyon, no? Doon sa mga naguguluhan. So, may nagtatanong kasi, sir, confused ako. So, normally, unang sagot ko, ay, huwag ka munang ma-confuse. Huwag kang ma-confuse. Huwag kang magpa-confuse. Kasi kung sinasabi mo, ay, confused ako, isipin, talagang mako-confuse ka. Okay, so isipin mo, hindi ka confused, di ba? So, hindi pa nakakalito yan. So, yung talagang gagawin dito, yung hindi na actually sekreto ito eh. Sekreto sana, no? Para mas mapadali yung Forex. So, hindi na sekreto actually. So, basta gawin mo lang, alamin mo yung basics na napag-usapan natin kanina. Tapos yung next, distinguish mo yung tatlong ito. And then, isulat mo. I encourage you not to write. Isulat mo yung rule, yung tatlong set of rule. Okay, bakit kailangan sinusulat? Kasi nakaka-enhance yan ng mas madali nating matandaan, mas madali nating, or actually it will enhance yung sa memory natin, no? So maaalala mo yan pag sinusulat mo. Kasi pwedeng kabisado mo na yung rule, pag hindi mo sinulat yan, pwede pong makalimutan. So pag sinulat mo yan, okay, mas may chance na ma-store yan sa long-term memory. Long-term memory. Okay, so pag-usapan na natin yung una. Although yung focus ko dito sa slide na to is yung transaction. Transaction. Kasi ito din, preparatory topic ito dun sa hedging. So preparatory topic sa hedging, yung iba naman nalilito sa hedging. Siyempre, yung unang kailangan mong malaman kasi pag nasa hedging ka din is ito yung preparatory. Dapat kabisado mo yung accounting ng foreign currency denominated transaction bago ka pumunta dun sa hedging. Alright? So let's discuss yung rules dun sa foreign currency denominated transaction. So foreign currency transaction. Kailang take note, again, pag transaction pinag-usapan, syempre meron kang import, meron kang export, meron kang borrowing, meron kang lending. Okay, so you need to check whether that is payable in foreign currency or payable in our functional currency. Kasi if that's payable in our functional currency, which is the Philippine peso or the company's functional currency, then wala pong accounting issue doon. Kasi posibleng bumili ka sa US, okay, and denominated siya in peso, pwede yun. Kung trip ng seller mo, napabayad yan ng peso, so pwedeng peso pera natin, peso babayaran natin sa US supplier. So dapat, para may accounting issue, foreign currency denominated to be settled in foreign currency. And pag Forex transaction yung pinag-usapan, we will check yung apat na D, no? So for this, ano ba yung for this na yan? So you have your OD, you have your TD, BD, and SD. So ano po yung OD, TD, BD, SD na yan? So yung OD, that would be what? Very good. TD, yan, tower down. And BD, tama po yan. And then of course, SD. So ito para sa mga Dota players lang. No? Pero hindi po yan, ha? Iba yan. Okay? So syempre dito, when you say OD, that would be the ordering date. Ordering date. TD is transaction date, and BD is balance sheet date, and then SD is settlement date. Okay, so OD of ordering, date of order, and TD, ayan. So transaction, BD, medyo parang malaking space na. SD settlement, kung kailan binayaran o kailan natanggap yung payment. Okay, so paano yung gagawin natin? So pag OD, ordering date, di ba? May nakita ka sa problem. Sales order received. or nagpadala ka ng purchase order, bumibili ka. Okay, 'di ba pag nag-send ka lang ng purchase order, hindi naman automatic 'yan, no, na approve. 'Di ba? Kasi kung babalikan mo yung transaction cycles, doon din i-discuss yan eh. Magsisend ka ng purchase order, i-receive ni supplier yan, gagawa ng sales order, 'di ba? Tapos subject to approval, especially kung on credit yan. Kung cash basis, normally wala nang approval yan. Pero pag on credit yan, so depende pa yan. So not necessary or hindi automatic na approve. Kaya pag ordering date, so anong gagamitin natin? SZ. Alright? So SZ, sin zone. Sin zone, ignore mo lang. Walang entry dyan. Therefore, no gain, no loss. No gain, no loss. Pag transaction date naman, you will use HR. What's HR? Historical rate. Historical rate. Although, again, sabi natin, yung spot rate ng nangyaring transaction, current rate ng nangyaring transaction, there's also the historical rate on the day of the transaction. Pag balance sheet date, depende yan kung anong klase ng asset or liability. So we have three. So the first one is you have your monetary asset and monetary liab. So pag monetary asset, monetary liab, so as mentioned by your past 21, you need to remeasure that using the CR closing rate. So the exchange rate on the balance sheet date. Alright? Kaya kung naalala mo, cash in foreign currency, receivable in foreign currency, payable in foreign currency. So if you're discussing that in your FAR or PRAB, binabanggit na, closing rate dapat yan sa balance sheet date. And actually that is based on the requirements of past 21 na pag monetary asset, monetary liab, naka-closing rate. Pag non-monetary asset or non-monetary liab, anong gagamitin na rate? Answer, pag non-monetary asset or non-monetary liab, you will use it's depend. Okay? Bakit it's depend? Hindi ba it depends? So, bakit it depends? It depends on the classification. If this non-monetary asset or non-monetary liab at cost, you will not adjust the value. You will not galaw-galaw the value. Okay? So you will not galaw-galaw the value. So in short, it will remain using yung historical. However, if there's non-monetary asset or non-monetary liab at fair value, sabi ng standard natin, you need to remeasure that using the exchange rate when the fair value is determined. Eh, kailan ba normally din-determine yung fair value? Reporting date, di ba? And ano yung exchange rate ng reporting date? That's the, or balance sheet date, that's a closing rate. That's a closing rate. Kaya yun, no? Ngayon, hindi lang po limited dito sa fair value, So, using yung, or pwedeng yung asset or liab na naka-measure, same as fair value, such as net realizable value, fair value less cost to sell, yung mga ibang assets na nasa subject to impairment loss, di ba? Kung mas mataas na yung carrying amount compared doon sa recoverable amount, so syempre mag-i-impair ka na. So pag ginamit mo is either yung value in use or fair value less cost to sell, magfo-fall din siya dito. Kaya enumerate nga natin yung magfo-fall dito sa category na ito. So una, you have your sa current asset mo na inventory, assuming mas mababa yung net realizable value niya. Okay? Kasi lower of cost or NRV yun, di ba? What else? You have your biological assets, agricultural produce at point of harvest. Okay, kailang kung balance sheet date yan, papasok na yan sa subsequent point of harvest na yan, that will be part of inventory. So FVTPL, okay, FV through OCI, tama ba? You have your investment property using fair value model. What else? PPE, intangible asset, and then you have your exploration and evaluation asset na naka-revaluation model. Naka-revaluation model. Ano po? Sa liability section, you have your financial liab at fair value through P&L. And then of course, pwede mo nang idagdag dyan yung mga assets subjected to impairment under past 36. You have your madami, no? Investment property na naka-cost model, assuming na-impair siya. Okay, kasi pag na-impair yan, yung gagamitin mo is yung recoverable amount, which is the higher fair value less cost to sell. So parang yung point is, if nire-measure natin, binago mo yung value Not because of depreciation, di ba? Not because of amortization, but because of, kunyari, write-down because of impairment, papasok din siya dito. Okay, so i-re-measure din natin yon using yung closing rate. I-adjust natin. Kaya kung mapapansin natin, no, kung may gain or loss, ano yung reason na may gain or loss? Dalawa. Yung dito, because of your monetary asset, monetary liability, in which you will measure at the closing rate, and of course, non-monetary asset or non-monetary liability at fair value. And settlement date, you will use CR. Kaya lang, teka, anong CR ito? Is it the closing rate? Ano bang CR sa settlement? Eh kung settlement date yan, hindi yan yung balance sheet date. Excuse me. Hindi po yan yung closing rate kasi hindi naman balance sheet date ito eh. So yung CR naman dito, that will be the current rate no settlement. So kung nagbayad ka or binayaran ka, kung ano yung exchange rate on that date, yun yung gagamitin mo. So yun lang yung rule sa Forex transaction. Simple lang. Diba? So ordering date, scene zone. Okay? Transaction date, historical. Balance sheet date, dito na yung relevance ng monetary, non-monetary. Tama? So monetary asset, monetary liability, closing. Non-monetary or non-monetary liability at cost. Normally, pag silent yung problem, walang binigyan na fair value or any other valuation. Malamang cost yan, ha? Hindi mo nagagalawin. And then non-monetary asset or non-monetary liability at fair value are similar to fair value, closing rate, and settlement is the closing rate. So yung exchange gain or loss, kung meron, so dun sa next slide pag-usapan natin. Okay. So ito no. Ano ba yung perspective na ginagamit sa IFRS natin, particularly IAS 21 or PAS 21? Okay, so yung gamit natin is two transaction perspective. Two transaction perspective. Bakit two transaction perspective? So kung may intervening balance sheet date kasi, i-compare mo yung value dun sa initial amount recognized versus yung balance dito. Okay, may gain or loss ka dito, di ba? May gain or loss dyan. And then next is balance sheet date until yung settlement. Kung may difference na naman, meron tayong gain or loss. So, two transaction perspective. Bakit? Parang may nakita tayong two variance. Parang two method variance ito, di ba? So, two-way. So, one way or another. One way, may two-way. Sa US GAAP kasi, sa kanila, one way or one transaction perspective. Paano one transaction perspective? Sa US GAAP, kino-compare lang is yung value transaction versus settlement. Okay? Pero sa atin, kino-compare natin na transaction versus balance sheet and then balance versus settlement date. So yun yung approach na ginagamit sa IFRS to transaction perspective. Okay. So, saan nilalagay yung transaction gain or loss? So, iba yung translation, transaction gain or loss. So, as you can see, nakalagay na dyan. Yung general rule ng transaction gain or loss, P&L. General rule. Exception sa other comprehensive income. But take note, okay, whether that is, or all transaction gain or loss will go into your statement of comprehensive income. Tama? Kasi yung statement of comprehensive income mo, dalawa yung component din, P&L at saka OCI. Kaya pag sinabi sa inyo, all transaction gain or loss will enter in your statement of comprehensive income, the answer is true. Okay, kaya lang pag tinanong ka magkano sa P&L, magkano sa OCI, dapat alam natin kung saan dapat ilagay. Okay, so generally speaking, pag silent yung problem, is of course, use the general rule, P&L. Teka, ano ba yung OCI na ito? Basta kung tanda mo yung OCI na in-enumerate sa PFRS 9 natin, yun na yun. Okay? You have your translation. Diba? Transaction ito, ibang translation. So transaction gain or loss, revaluation surplus, diba? Remeasurement gain or loss ng employee benefits. Okay, ano po nabanggit natin? So translation, revaluation, remeasurement gain or loss, and then effective portion of cash flow hedge. And then, ano pa yung iba na kabisado ninyo? Pag PFRS 9 yan, may mga nadagdag na doon, no? Yung change in the intrinsic value of an option. Okay, you have your change in fair value of designated liability due to credit risk, yung mga ibang items. No? Kaya lang, pag nakita mo na wala doon sa list ng OCI, automatic nasa P&L na siya. Kaya actually, para madali mong masagutan yung tanong na ano yung nasa OCI, ano yung nasa P&L, okay, suggestion ko din, i-memorize mo yung nasa yung listahan ng OCI. Memorize mo yan. Kailangan ba? Yes, no choice. And of course, to memorize, or para ma-familiarize mo, kung ayaw mo yung term na memorize, madadaan lang naman sa repetition yan. Paulit-ulit, 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 ulit-ulit, ulit-ulit. Tama? Okay? So, ano yung papasok sa exception? Okay. Kung naalala mo, ito, no? So, pag non-monetary asset or non-monetary liability at fair value, if the change in the fair value is presented as part of OCI, if the change in the fair value is presented as part of OCI, yung forex gain or loss, OCI na din. Okay, kaya lang, actually, hindi kailangang ihiwalay. So, kunyari, meron tayong PPE na naka-revaluation model. Di ba pag revaluation surplus, OCI. So kung kunyari, denominated yan in foreign currency, lahat na ng change na sa fair value papasok na sa OCI. No need to split whether that is related to change in fair value or whether that is related to change sa forex. Kaya lang later on, we will discuss paano mag-split kung tinatanong. Although hindi required, no? Kasi lahat na yan pasok na sa OCI, parang part na ng change in fair value. Kaya lang baka mamaya may mga question na tatanungin kayo magkano yung total change or magkano yung change due to forex, change due to increase in fair value. So tuturo natin yun later on. Okay. Kaya basta tandaan mo, pag yung change in fair value is related or presented as part of OCI, then any corresponding gain or loss is also part of OCI. Kaya yung may OCI na to, bilang naman na ito eh. You have your revaluation model, di ba? PPE, intangible asset, and then of course you have your exploration and evaluation. That's financial liabilities designated, no, due to credit risk. Kailang bilang na bilang yung mga ganon na asset and liability na papasok sa OCI. Okay, kaya most of the time, P&L. But of course, you need to know na posibleng merong OCI. Right? So, yun yung transaction, gain or loss. So, to give you an example, we have two problems para dito sa Forex transaction. So, basahin natin. On October 25, Pinoy ordered an inventory FOB shipping point. Of course, kung maraming ibibigay na date sa'yo, date ordered, syempre wala pa yon. And pag shipping point yan, normally yung transaction date is shipment date, diba? I-apply mo lang yung concept sa FOB. Pag FOB destination, syempre, kailan na dumating. But of course, no, importante yung naka-invoice yung talagang babayaran mo. Kasi kahit na FOB destination yan, kung yung nakalagay sa resibo ay $100,000 pa rin, yun yung magiging or yun yung babayaran mo. So yung question lang is, kailan may re-record? Diba? Is it yung shipment date or yung date na dumating sa iyo? So inventory from ibang company to. And on November 1, 2020, the inventory was shipped and invoiced to Pinoy for $100,000 payable in US dollars. So this is very important. Yung payable in US dollars. Kasi kung payable yan in peso, di wala na tayong accounting issue. Tama? So, pinapay the invoice on January 31 and for Pinoy Corporation, assume the following exchange rates for peso and US dollars. So, tingnan natin. Ito, buying, selling. Dalawa yung spot rate. Sabi ko nga kanina, may buying, may selling, lahat yan. Itong first column, this is a good example of your direct rate. Bakit direct? Naka-fix yung dollar. So, ito yung nagbabago. Ito naman, that would be yung indirect exchange rate. So, this one, direct selling and then indirect selling. So, again, if you use the buying, kasi given naman yung dollar, anong gagawin mo? Multiply. If you use yung, indirect, i-divide mo. Okay, so pag direct, multiply, pag indirect, divide. So prepare all the entries and determine the following. So dito natin pag-usapan din mga FAQs, no? Or mga frequently asked questions sa Forex transaction. Okay, so let's prepare the journal entries. But before that, I think kailangan nating pag-usapan anong rate gagamitin. Is it the buying or is it the selling? So drawing natin. So di ba meron tayong Pinoy, si foreigner, okay, tapos of course foreign currency broker. So yung pera ni Pinoy is peso, pera ni foreigner as provided sa problem is dollar. Ano bang nangyaring transaction? Okay, si Pinoy bumili ng inventory from the foreigner, okay, foreign company. Anong ipapalit niya? Denominated in dollar, and then yung usapan is magbabayad ng 100,000. Ngayon, pera mo is peso. Anong babayaran mo? Dollar. So, saan ka kukuha ng dollar? So, isang option natin is punta tayo sa foreign currency broker. And good example of foreign currency broker is bank. So, anong gagawin natin? If you're a Pinoy company, pupunta ka sa bangko and anong gagawin mo sa bangko? Hold upin mo yung bangko. Of course, what? Okay, hold upin ng bangko. So, bibili tayo. Di ba? Kukuha ka ng $100,000 and bakit natin kukunin yung $100,000 Yan ang pambabayad mo sa utang mo pagdating ng settlement date. And then anong ipapalit mo? Peso. And bakit may question mark dyan? Siyempre, yung question mark dyan, hindi natin alam. Kasi pag pumunta ko kunyari, next week, magkano kayong sisingilin sa iyo na kapalit niya? Magkano kaya yung sisingilin na kapalit nito? Depende yan sa exchange rate nung araw na yon. So unknown pa ito, no? Variable yan. Pwedeng magbago. Okay? So anong ginawa ni Pinoy? Bumili ng dollar, nagbenta ng peso. Ganun ba? Hindi. Okay. Bumili ng dollar. So anong ginawa naman ng foreign currency broker, yung bangko? Nagbenta ng dollar, bumili ng peso. Hindi pwede yung bumili ng peso eh. Okay, so doon tayo mag-focus sa dollar kasi pera na ito is peso. Alam nga namang ibibenta niya yung peso niya. Ito naman, most likely Philippine company ito. Alam nga namang bibili din siya ng peso. So i-cancel natin yung ano na yan, yung peso-peso na yan. So focus tayo dito sa foreign currency. So para kay Pinoy, bumili siya. Tama? Para kay Pinoy, bumili siya. Para naman sa foreign currency broker, nagbenta siya. Kaya lang, sino may business na buy and sell ng foreign currency? Obviously, si foreign currency broker. So to determine whether that is buying or whether that is selling, you need to determine that from the point of view of yung company na nagbebenta or bumibili ng foreign currency. So i-determine natin and from the point of view of the foreign currency broker. So anong ginawa ng broker? Benentahan ka ng US dollars. So pag import transaction, anong gagamitin nating rate? That would be the selling rate. Kasi ulit, anong ginawa ng bangko sa'yo or ng foreign currency broker? So benentahan ka. Benentahan ka ng dollar. And then, of course, you will use the selling rate. So to give you an example, tingnan natin. Actual. So BDO. Buy and sell. Sorry Tingnan natin medyo para makita mo yung actual. Di ba mas maganda yung gano'n? Hindi lang sa problem. Para at least makita natin. Okay, so tingnan mo. Ito yung exchange rate as of ano ba to? July 3 kahapon, no? Friday. So trading day. Ayun. So currencies other than are available and selected. Okay, ano nating tingnan yan. So ito na lang, tingnan mo. Buy, tapos sell. So buy versus sell. And anong tawag doon sa difference ng buy at saka sell? Di ba magkaiba yan? Magkaiba yan. Tawag dyan is spread. Tama? Yan yung spread. So yan yung isang source ng revenue ng mga bangko natin. So general rule is buy low, sell high. Tama ba? Buy low, tingnan mo. Anong mas mababa dito? Buy. Ibebenta nila ng 49.75. So bibili ng 49.25, ibebenta yan ng 49.75. And minsan dun sa mga pagpumasok ka mismo sa bangko, minsan nilalagay pa nila yung reference. And yung reference, that may be the actual rate. And normally difference ng reference versus buy at saka reference versus sell, that would be the same. Alright? So general rule, mas mababa yung buy, okay, mas mataas yung sell. Or actually, that would be true if you are seeing yung if you're looking at the direct rate. So pag direct rate yung pinag-uusapan, talagang mas mababa yung buy. Kaya lang pag binaliktad natin, pag indirect rate, mas mababa naman yung sell. Okay? Kasi i-divide mo lang, or 1 divided by 49.25, di ba, yun yung indirect. Tapos ito, 1 divided by 49.75. So dito mas mataas yung denominator. Therefore, yung direct rate, indirect rate would be lower. Okay, kaya ulitin na lang natin. Pag direct rate, mas mababa yung buy. Pag indirect rate, mas mababa yung sell. Okay, mas mababa yung sell. Right? So, ganun pala yung tinatawag na buying at saka selling. And yung iba kasi, akala nila, pag import, kasi bibili ka, buy din. Tama, bumili ka ng dollar. Pero syempre, yung rate na gagamitin mo would be determined from the point of view of the foreign currency broker. Okay? So, yun yung analysis, and then let's prepare the journal entries. So, dito muna tayo sa journal entries. Okay. So, we have 4 relevant dates. So, again, tingnan na, i-highlight ko. Since import ito, gagamitin natin selling spot. Kaya lang, dalawa, direct, indirect. So, anong mas madali? Mas madali, multiplication na lang. Unlike ito, i-input mo pa yun sa calculator mo, mahaba pa yan. So, multiply na lang since given naman. Okay, yun nga lang, itong October 25, dyan ka nag-order, so that would be our ordering date. Kaya kung ordering date yan, wala yan. Okay, ignore lang yan. Kaya 1025, anong entry sa 1025? No entry. Okay, so no entry. Debit no, credit entry. So, wala pa. Walang gain or loss dyan. Ngayon, pagdating nung November 1, so debit inventory if you're using perpetual, debit purchases, pag periodic, and credit accounts payable at magkano? 50. Okay. May typo lang dito. No? So that should be 50. Teka. May konting typo lang, no? So, ulit. Debit inventory, debit purchase or purchases, and credit accounts payable. And anong gagamitin natin dito? That would be the transaction rate. Okay, so ano yung transaction rate? Sa exchange rate ng nangyaring transaction, this is 50, tama ba? So, at 50. Alright, next. Pagdating ng December 31, that's the balance sheet date. Anong gagawin sa balance sheet date? Dapat nating alamin kung monetary or non-monetary yan. So obviously for inventory or purchases, that would be non-monetary. Hindi mo nagagalawin yung inventory or purchases. About accounts payable, monetary po yan. So pag monetary yan, we need to adjust that using the closing rate, which is 54. So anong nangyayari? From 50 magiging 54, may increase na 4 pesos times 100,000. Yes, 400,000. Madadagdagan yung utang. So anong entry? Credit accounts payable. And anong debit? So nadagdagan yung utang, haha or huhu? Nadagdagan ng utang, huhu, di ba? Huhu. So that will be exchange loss P&L. Okay, so that's the difference of 54 and 50, no? Kaya kung mapapansin mo dito, from 50 to 54, what happened to the purchasing power of the peso? It weakens. The dollar strengthen against the peso. Kaya pag may liability tayo tapos lumakas yung peso, you will report a loss. Obviously, pag receivable, vice kabaliktaran. Alright? Tapos pagdating ng settlement, simply debit lang yung carrying amount ng accounts payable, that is 5.4 na yung updated na balance. So yun yung initially 5 million plus 400. And of course, magbabayad tayo. Magkano yung babayaran mo pag bumili ka sa broker? 48. Ito yun, selling na 48 on this date. So 48, and may difference sa credit side na 600,000. And ano yung 600,000 na yan? Okay, utang mo, 5.4, nagbayad ka ng mas maliit, 4.8. Haha or huhu, that would be hehehe. SXG. And again, since this is related to monetary part of P&L, kaya pag may movement, dahil sa monetary asset or monetary liability, always P&L, ha? Always P&L. The only instance na meron kang OCI dito is related to non-monetary asset at fair value na naka-OCI yung change ng fair value. So ano po ba yung XG na yan? What's XG? Yung XG na yan, yan yung kinakanta mo, di ba? Ano yung kanta natin? Yeah, XG. Kalimutan mo na yan. Okay, so exchange gain lang po yan, ha? So again, if you'll observe, purchasing power of the peso, December 31 to January 31, anong nangyari? Lumakas, and kung may utang ka, you'll report the gain. Kasi mas konti yung babayaran mo. Ano yung possible question? December 31, magkano yung purchases or inventory assuming hindi na benta? Simple lang yan, non-monetary, historical, S50, 5 million. Accounts payable, December 31, December 31, obviously that is monetary closing. Diretso lang, 54. So kung hindi tinatanong yung journal entry, pwedeng ganun lang gawin mo. That's next. January 31, just before the settlement, magkano yung carrying amount ng liab just in case gusto mong i-update bago mo i-settle. Kasi yung iba, in-update pa nila eh. Pwede naman yun. Kung in-update mo yun, that would be 4,800,000 just prior to payment. So, yun yung mga posibleng tanong. And then yung babantayan mo lang kasi gain or loss, saan ba? P&L. So, ito, P&L lahat. Okay, tapos yung pwedeng itanong sa inyo, magkano yung gain or loss sa 2020? So, kung 2020 yung tinatanong, ito yung i-compare mo. Okay? So, pag 2021, ito naman yung papasok sa 2021. Okay? And I didn't know bakit ganun yung lumabas. Anyways, so as an alternative, anong gagawin natin? Okay, tingnan mo. Yung initial entry, inventory purchases, accounts payable, alin dyan yung ina-adjust? Alin dyan yung ina-adjust? Yung accounts payable, hindi naman pala gumagalaw yung inventory or purchases. So, pwedeng ganito yung gawin mo. Sulat mo lang dyan. TD, BD, ST, transaction, balance sheet, settlement date, and then ilagay natin accounts payable. Yan yung monetary. Tama? Tapos transaction, 5 million at 50 yan. Tama? Tapos balance sheet date, closing kasi monetary. Tapos settlement date, magkano ba yung babayaran mo? 4.8, 4,800,000. And compare mo lang, 5 million versus 5.4. That would be how much? So tumas yung utang mo. Loss. Diba? 5.4 versus 4.8 naman, binayaran ng mas maliit. That would be 600 XG. Okay? And that would be the same dito. Tama ba? Yun. Pareho lang naman. So, kung titingnan mo, simple lang actually yung foreign currency denominated transaction. Kaya alam mo talagang pinaghalo-halo mo yan sa translation, pinaghalo mo pa yan sa restatement, talagang malilito tayo. And pag malilito tayo, yan ang isang rason kung bakit nahihirapan tayo. Kasi confused tayo. Okay, so to answer the question, Forex gain or loss, posibleng tanong dito, gain or loss, 10.25, ordering date, wala. Okay, kung gusto mong may kinocompute ka dito, ilagay ko dito yung computation ha. Kailang mahaba eh. Okay, so 0 times 4 times square root of 5 times tangent of 10 times cosine of 5 times 0 ulit. So, syempre, walang gain or loss pag ordering date. Transaction date, walang gain or loss din dyan. So, kailan nagkakaroon dito? Pag in-update na yung balance, so 400 loss for 2020. And then, yung papasok sa 2021 at 600,000 gain. All right. So, that would be yung mga forex gain or loss. Okay, dito sa apat na date na ito. Tapos purchases, December 31, nasagot na natin kanina, 5 million, non-monetary, hindi mo na ginalaw. Accounts payable, December 31, obviously that is 5 million plus 400 or in short, okay, that would be your closing rate, December 31, 54. So that's your import transaction. So punta naman natin yung export. So almost same except that, same date actually, same yung rate, except that iba lang yung transaction. So nagbenta ka naman, no, kay foreigner. And it is billed for $100,000 and naka-ship, naka-invoice on November 1. So this would be the transaction date. December 31 is the intervening balance sheet date, and you have your settlement date. Kaya lang i-analyze naman natin para malaman natin kung selling or buying yung gagamitin. So Pinoy, ano naman, magbebenta ka ng inventory sa foreigner, papalitan naman yung $100,000. Ngayon, anong gagawin mo pag nakolekta mo yung $100,000? Ang daming option. Pero ipagpapalagay lang natin, we will assume that you need that in peso, so you will convert that into peso. So saan ka na naman lalapit? Sa foreign currency broker, ibebenta mo yung 100,000, ipapalit naman sa iyo ay peso. So yung equivalent nito peso, hindi natin alam. Kasi alam naman natin, sa isang araw, okay, sa isang araw nagbabago yung rate. How much more pag napakaraming araw na yan? Tama ba? So again, para makita mo, no? Okay, so US dollar, Philippine peso. So ito nga, yung variability niya, tingnan natin kung ilang percentage yan. Isang araw. Difference ng lowest and then highest. Okay, so in this case, around 2.8%, 208. So isang araw lang yan, ha? Isang araw lang yan. Okay, ito pa, yung iba, no? Masyado ng volatile dito sa isang araw. So medyo mas malaki yan. Okay, kaya nga yung challenge talaga, no, pag foreign currency denominated yung transaction is very exposed ka dun sa currency risk na tinatawag. The risk that you will pay or you will receive different amount because of the fluctuations in the exchange rate. So normally applicable ito sa mga companies na involved sa export and then import, no? So ulit, yung gagawin mo, pupunta ka sa bangko, di ba? Ibebenta mo yung dollar. Hindi ka bumili ng peso, kaya tanggalin ulit natin yung peso na yan. Grabe naman, bangko, bumili ng peso. Peso din pera niya. Okay. So yung talagang transaction dito ka mag-focus sa dollar. So anong ginawa? Para kay Pinoy, ano yan? Nagbenta siya. Okay, pero para kay bangko, anong ginawa ni bangko? Binili niya. So that the rate that you will use would be the buying rate. Kasi from the point of view of the foreign currency broker. So buying rate. Buying rate. Kaya kung titingnan mo, pag i-compare mo yung dalawa, pag import or borrowing, anong ginamit? Selling. Import, borrowing, selling. Okay? Tapos pag export or lending, anong ginamit? Okay, that is buying. Buying. Alright? So, let's now check yung problem and let's answer yung requirements. So, same din naman, forex gain or loss, magkano yung sales, magkano receivables, so let's prepare the journal entry. So again, 10/25 ordering date, scene zone yan, so debit no, credit entry, or in short, walang entry. Tapos, tingnan natin. So, i-highlight ko na lang. Again, we will use the buying rate na lang para mas madali na i-multiply na lang. Kaya lang, dito sa buying rate, i-ignore natin ito. Kasi nga, ordering date. Hindi magagamit yan. So pag November 1, accounts receivable, credit, sales, right? And ano gagamitin mo? That would be 49,000. 49 or 49 pesos, or that is 4,900,000. Tapos, itong initial entry, debit accounts receivable, what is AR? That is monetary. Kailangan i-adjust. For sales, non-monetary na yan. Hindi na i-adjust yan. So, this will not be adjusted. Therefore, pagdating ng December 31, i-adjust natin yung value ng AR, gagawin mong 52. So, meron siyang increase na 300. Tama ba? So, debit accounts receivable, 300,000. And anong credit natin? XG. Diba? So, nadagdagan ng asset. Siyempre, gain. Nadagdagan ng asset eh. Okay, next. Settlement. Debit, siyempre, i-close mo muna yung AR. Paano yung balance na ng AR natin? So that is, naka 52 na siya, or that is 4,009,000 plus 352. Credit AR, 5,200,000. Debit cash, yung matatanggap natin is at 47. Pag pumunta ka sa bangko that day, yan yung ipapalit. And there's a difference of 500,000. Okay, syempre mas maliit na tanggap natin. That is Forex loss. And again, this is part of P&L. So to answer the question, Forex gain or loss, October 25, 0. November 1, 0 pa rin. Pero pag December 31, that would be 300 gain. And then January 31, okay, that would be 500 loss. Tapos accounts receivable, December 31, that would be 5,200,000. Or simply, kung multiple choice ito, no, yan lang yung tanong, anong gagawin mo? Alam mo naman, monetary yan, diretso ko na lang doon sa closing rate, you will use 52. 5,200,000. Or kung binalikan mo yung entry, 49 plus 300, that is 5,200,000. As an alternative, pag hindi naman tinatanong yung journal entry, okay, kung titingnan mo, AR, yan lang naman in-adjust natin. Sales, hindi na ginagalaw yan. So as an alternative solution, pwedeng ganito yung ginagawa mo. Pwedeng isulat mo lang actually sa tabi netong date na ito. So magkano yung value ng accounts receivable? 49, transaction date. Tama? 4,900,000, 5,200,000, closing rate, tapos settlement, 4.7. Tapos 4.9 naging 5.2, receivable, asset yan. Tumas ng 300, that would be gain. 5.2 naging 4.7, asset na bawasan, that would be 500 loss. And ganun kasimple yung Forex transaction. Foreign currency denominated transaction. Now, ito, other issues. So, yun lang yung i-discuss natin sa Forex. Okay? So, ito yung mga hindi natin na-discuss. Of course, pag mag-enroll tayo sa REO, i-discuss natin lahat-lahat. So, how do you account pag may non-monetary asset or non-monetary liab at fair value? Okay? Just in case may tanong pa na, paano mo split yung change due to fair value, change due to Forex? Kunyari lang, na-require ng problem, although sa standard hindi na kailangan eh. Paano ihihiwalay? So ituturo din natin yon. And then how do you account advance transact or advance payment? Advance payment under IFRIC 22. Okay, kailan yung transaction date? Kunyari may series of payment. Kailan kayong transaction date? And then of course, pag-uusapan natin yung FS translation ng non-hyper. Dalawa yung FS translation kasi you have your translation ng non-hyper and then you have your dito sa dulo, hyper. Pag-uusapan din natin yan. So we will also discuss yung translation with some intercompany transactions and translation with fair value adjustment. Fair value adjustment and goodwill or goodwill. And what if na-dispose mo yung foreign operation? So what will you do dun sa OCI? Anong gagawin natin sa other comprehensive income? Ililipat ba yan sa P&L? Ililipat ba yan sa OCI? And magkano yung ililipat? So dalawa yan. No? Meron yung nawalan ka ng control. So depende kung ano yung foreign operation. Kung subsidiary, loss of control, no loss of control. Okay, loss of significant, no loss of significant, and many other issues. Siyempre, kulang kasi yung 2 oras to discuss everything. No? So yun lang yung i-discuss natin for your Forex. And next na pag-usapan na lang natin is yung isang favorite mo, derivatives. Derivatives. Pero ito yung gusto kong i-note nyo. Tingnan mo to. This is yung FAR syllabus ninyo. FAR. Sa FAR ninyo, kasama yung basic derivatives, excluding hedge accounting. So forwards, futures, interest rate swap, call and put option. Ito yung option natin. Okay? And then buti na lang wala yung dito eh. Interest rate cap, interest rate floor. Wala siya, no? Or swaptions. So sa bagay, hindi na basic pag isasama pa yon. Okay, kaya sa FAR, dapat dinidiscuss yung basic ng derivatives. And then, ano yung nasa AFAR? Yung nasa AFAR, tingnan natin. Ito yung nasa AFAR. So, transaction without hedging. Okay, ito yung nadaanan natin kanina. So, Pag-usapan din natin ito, lending, borrowing, paano pag may interest pa yan. Okay. Tapos hedging activities, ano yung focus ng hedging? So ito yung isang focus niya, foreign currency exposure. Tapos anong gamit? Forward contracts. So dun sa 4 derivatives na nakalagay dun sa FAR syllabus, ano lang yung gagamitin? Forward. Okay? And then ito, no, you have your undesignated hedge daw. In a way, parang fair value hedge din naman ito eh. Tapos you have your fair value cash flow hedge, and then, of course, accounting for SME. So what I am pointing here is, or emphasizing here is, yung basic derivatives covered ng FAR. Sa FAR naman natin, anong covered? Nung kasama, hedging, tapos restricted lang siya sa forward contracts. Pero ako, no, okay lang sa akin na magtanong sila ng futures contract kasi same lang naman yung accounting niyan. Pagdating doon sa gain or loss, so same lang doon sa forward. Okay? Mamaya pag-usapan natin ulit yung difference ng dalawa. Alright. So let's now proceed dun sa, although covered ng FAR, para ma-solve natin, no, yung mga problems natin, let's introduce, no, or let's recall yung derivatives ninyo. Okay, so derivatives. Anong standard yung gagamitin sa derivatives? So obviously dito sa FAR ninyo. Okay, so syempre ngayon na kasi luma na yung ano na yan eh, yung past 39 wala na yan. So pinalitan na yan ng PFRS 9. So PFRS 9. Although if we'll compare yung definition ng derivatives sa PFRS 9 at saka past 39, same lang naman. So derivatives are financial instruments that derives its value from the value of an underlying. Okay? So from the value of an underlying. So with that definition, we can say na there are 3 characteristics of derivatives. Una, it derives its value from the value of an underlying variable. So ano yung mga underlying? Ang dami. Pwedeng exchange rate, interest rate, commodity price, pwedeng index. And pag sinabing index, ang dami. Diba? So, index. Anong klaseng index? So, stock ba yan? Or Forex ba yan? Okay, futures ba yan? Commodity ba yan? So, dapat malinaw yung index, no? So, gusto ko lang ipakita, no? Index. Pag index sa Pilipinas, as far as I know, no? Dalawa normally yan, eh. So, you have your PSE, ito, PSEI, Philippine Stock Exchange Index. Alam ko meron pa yung isa, MSCI. Okay, I'm not sure lang kung meron pang ibang index dito sa Pilipinas. And of course, pag buong mundo, ito, no? Okay, dami, no? Okay, so this one. And kung may trading hour pa doon sa ibang country, kunyari trading day pa sa kanila, gumagalaw yung mga ito eh. So nagbabago. Normally red pag decrease, increase green. So meron tayo ditong S&P, and then ito favorite niyo, DAX. KOSPI. Okay, KOSPI, siguro naririnig nito sa mga K-drama, OPA, okay. Ayun. So, yun ang example ng index. Okay. Tapos ito, futures. Click mo lang yan. Tapos ito, futures. So, ganyan. Example ng index. Alright. So, yun ang mga pwedeng maging underlying. So, depende sa usapan niya. Okay, next. So, yun ang una. Ulitin ko. So, its value changes based on sa change ng value ng underlying. And then ano yung second, it is settled at the future date. So forward-looking siya, settled at the future date. And normally it requires no initial investment or an initial investment that is minimal. Alright, so zero initial investment or initial investment that is minimal. Alright? So yun yung 3 characteristics of derivatives. Ito pala. Okay, so nakalagay din dito sa slide natin. And pasalamat ako, no? Kasi pag derivatives pinag-usapan, wala pa yung hedging. Kabisado ko ng derivatives matagal ng panahon nung undergrad pa ako. Kasi that time, yung teacher namin na-require, parang reporting. So may kanya-kanyang topic. Inassign sa akin ba naman, derivatives. Of course, that time, I didn't know na mahirap daw pala yung derivatives sa ibang estudyante. So sabi ng teacher namin, okay, Mr. Ngina, ikaw naka-assign sa derivatives. Siyempre, pag ginawa mo yun ngayon, ay sir, mahirap derivatives. Pero that time, hindi ko alam na mahirap daw yung derivatives. Ginawa ko, masunurin akong bata. So wala kang internet that time sa bahay namin. May computer, walang internet. Pumunta ko sa internet shop. So sinerch, basta tinype ko lang ng tinype, derivatives, tapos copy. Pinaste ko sa Word. Tapos may nakita na naman akong ibang copy-paste. Tapos pumunta ko sa bahay, binasa ko, tapos gumawa ko ng PowerPoint presentation na simpleng-simple lang naman. Okay, nireport ko dun sa klase namin and then mukhang nag-agree naman yung teacher. Ganun-ganun siya, tapos nagdagdag na lang siya ng additional input. Okay. And because of that, kasi ni-research ko, tinuro ko, na-retain sa long-term memory. Kaya advantage pala yun. Advantage pala yung reporting. Kasi ngayon, there are some students na pag pinag-report mo, ay, hindi alam ng teacher. Tama si teacher. Kaya lang, you need to look it in a positive way. Kasi there are many ways how to learn. Diba? Ang daming ways how to learn. Pwedeng sa panunood, pakikinig, ang dami, di ba? Pagsusulat. Minsan sinasabi ko na magsulat kayo kasi mas nare-retain sa long-term memory kahit basic accounting equation pa yun, asset equals liability plus equity. Sulat mo. Okay? And para sa akin, siguro yung best way para talagang ma-master mo yan, aside from aralin mo, mag-practice ka, is ituro mo. Ituro mo. Pag naturo mo kasi, syempre, hindi basta-basta na tuturo mo kung ano-ano na lang. Talagang mag-aaral ka. Tapos pag na-deliver mo pa yan, talagang papasok na yan sa long-term memory mo. Kaya sa panahon ngayon na hindi kayo masyadong lumalabas, baka tatanungin mo, sir, hindi naman ako teacher. Paano kayo tuturo? Kung nakakulong lang kayo sa bahay ninyo, you can teach mga kapatid mo. Okay, kapatid, alam mo ba, derivatives, ganito. Ganito pala yung Forex transaction. Okay? So, you can teach yung mga kapatid mo. Alright? So, yun ang derivatives. And ano yung mga examples ng derivatives? You have your forward contract, futures, options, interest rate swap, interest rate cap and floor, and then options. If you'll observe, yung coverage dun sa ninyo, coverage sa FAR, ito, di ba? Forward, futures, options, and interest rate swap. Ayun. So ano pa yung forward contract? Forward contract is a contract to buy or to sell at a fixed price at a future determinable date. Diba? Kaya forward. Nag-usap tayo ngayon, may kasulatan na tayo. Okay? Na bibili ako, siya naman magbebenta, nakalagay na dyan yung price. And yung price, forward rate. And yun yung sinasabi natin, predetermined rate for exchange or delivery in the future rate. Future. Parang may nangingitim dito. Okay, effect ng... May namumuti din. Okay. Check ko lang. Okay, so this is a forward contract. So forward contract to buy, forward contract to sell. Alright, yung futures contract naman, ganun din. There's a contract to buy or to sell at a future determinable date, at a fixed price. Yung fixed price naman na yan, nakalagay sa kontrata, tawag doon, future rate. Future rate. Okay. So yung covered sa AFAR is forward contract. Kaya lang sa akin, pwedeng itanong din yung futures kasi same lang. Yun yung sinasabi natin kanina. Ano ba yung difference nila? Ano yung difference nila? Yung forward contract kasi, this is private contract, kaya individually tailored yan. Individually tailored ito. Depende ito sa involved na party, no? Samantalang ito, this is generic traded. Parang bearer instrument yan. Kung sino yung may hawak, siya yung may karapatan at may obligasyon. Okay, parang bearer nga. Ito naman, syempre nakalagay pangalan mo, pangalan ko. So kahit mapunta yun sa iba, tayo lang naman yung nakalagay dun sa kontrata, di ba? So yun yung forward contract, private ito, tapos ito naman generic traded. And then since generic traded ito, regulated ito naman hindi siya regulated kasi nga private contract lang yan. Okay? And then as to whether merong secondary market, so itong forward contract, no secondary market. No secondary market yan. Ito naman, with secondary market. Bakit with secondary market? Kasi nga, traded siya eh. So pwedeng bilhin ng isa, no? So with secondary market. And dito sa Philippines, forward contract, pwedeng meron yung company ng mga ganyan. Futures contract, wala nga lang. So kung gusto mong mag-trade ng futures, syempre doon sa ibang country. So sharing you yung kanina, tingnan mo to. Index, future index. So dito tinatrade yung mga futures. So Dow 30 futures, Nasdaq, New York yan. Okay? Then S&P, so example ng mga futures. So traded yan. Or pag tinignan mo din dito, sa Investa, dami lalabas dito eh. Stock, domestic and foreign, tas mga index, forex, okay, commodities. Yan tingnan mo, cocoa, gasoline, copper, okay, cryptocurrency, mga bitcoins ito, preferred shares, okay, and then share warrants, tinitrade din. Pero so far may mga warrant na tinitrade is ito. Yung tatlo lang na yan. So, pwede rin kayong kumita dito. Alright. Para makita mo yung example. So, going back, options. Hopefully, you're not an option. Alright? So, sabi na yun, buti na lang, priority ako. Kaya lang, you need to specify, anong priority? Kasi baka mamaya, last priority, saklap naman. So pag sinabing option, this is option to buy or option to sell. So the right but not the obligation. Right but not the obligation to buy or to sell at a fixed price at a future determinable date. Yung nga lang yung fixed price na ito, tawag dyan is you have your spot rate, okay? Option rate. So ganun, exercise price, strike price. Yun yung tawag naman dito, no? Strike price, exercise price. Okay, and dalawa po yan, no? Option to buy, option to sell. And dito nga lang, yung option to buy may other term eh. Option to sell may other term. So pag option to buy is also known as call option. Option to sell is otherwise known as put option. Madaling memorize yan. So for some of you, medyo hindi na pakabisado, pero sa akin, master ko na yan. Kasi nga, pinareport sa akin yan eh. So ito yun. Magkalapit, BC. Diba? Ito naman, SP, PS. Magkalapit naman, P at saka S. Tapos ito naman magkasunod, B at saka S. So yung parties dito, dalawa. You have your option holder and then you have your option holdee. Option writer. So sino yung may right but not the obligation? That would be the option holder. And for you to obtain a right but not the obligation, you need to pay a price, and that would be called as your option premium. Option premium. So yun ang option. And as to yung expiration, ang daming classification nito as the expiration date or exercise, no? Okay, so you have your Bermudan option. You can exercise that before maturity. You have American option. You can exercise anytime. Okay. So European naman, sa expiration lang pwedeng ma-exercise. So yun ang different types, no? Pero more on sa FAR ata. Kung itatanong mo yun, more on sa FAR. Alright, interest rate swap. Dalawa ito. Pag swap pinag-usapan, actually pwedeng currency pala, no? Currency pwedeng interest rate. So pag focus mo is interest rate swap, dalawa yan. You have your variable to fixed and then fixed to variable. So fixed to variable and then variable to fixed. Ipapalit mo lang. Floating to fixed. Tapos you have your fixed to floating. Okay. So yun yung dalawa. Yan, hindi na makita. But anyway, ganun ang concept, ipapalit. Yun nga lang, hindi uso dito sa Pilipinas ito. So kung meron mga companies na gumagawa, konting-konti lang, interest rate swap. Interest rate cap and floor, mga madali lang naman yan. Pag sinabing cap, saan ba yung cap? Taas, baba? Taas, baba? Cap. Pag nagsuot ka ng cap, sa taas. Alam mo naman sa paa, di ba? Pag floor naman, of course, lower limit. So cap, upper limit, floor, lower limit. So other term for interest rate cap and floor, that is interest rate options. Okay? Okay pa kayo? Derivatives to. Baka mamaya na true lala kayo. Okay. And then you have your swaptions. So this is a swap on or option in a swap. Kailang hindi na covered yan ng far ninyo. No? So again, ulitin natin forward, futures, options, interest rate swap. Okay. So, yun yung examples ng derivatives. Next na pag-usapan natin, okay. So, ito, no, yung example, ika-classify natin whether forward-based or option-based yan. So, pag forward-based, it includes forward contract, futures contract, interest rate swap. Pag option-based naman, you have your option, call and put option, and then you have your interest rate cap and floor. Other term for this is interest rate option kasi yan. Interest rate option. Ngayon, anong relevance ng forward-based? Ano yung relevance ng option-based? So dito kasi, pag forward-based yan, two-sided yung exposure mo. So whether it is favorable or not, you need to honor contract. So satisfy mo yung obligasyon mo. Okay, so gain or loss yan. So gain man, siyempre, you need to honor the contract. Pag loss, ganun pa rin. Settle mo kung may mga obligasyon ka. Yung options naman, this is only one-sided. One-sided. Bakit? Right but not the obligation. So pag favorable, what will you do? You exercise. Pag favorable, exercise. Pag unfavorable yung option, what will you do? Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Because you can't hold back anymore. Tama ba? Let it go. Anyway, pag na-let go mo yan, yung maximum loss mo, kung babalikan mo yung characteristics ng derivatives, no initial or initial investment na minimal. Yun yung maximum loss mo. Okay? So, ayun. Ngayon, ano pa? Pag forward-based, normally, wala kang binabayaran dito kasi nga, two-sided yung exposure. Two-sided. Favorable or not, okay, talagang i-honor mo yung contract. Unlike ito, pag favorable mo lang i-exercise. Kaya ito, two-sided, wala kang binabayaran, kaya normally walang value yan at initial recognition. Unlike ito, option-based, option, right, but not the obligation to be able to obtain a right, may binabayaran tayo, tawag ay option premium. And pag may binayaran ka, credit cash, anong debit mo? Debit, derivative. Derivative asset. Okay, so yun ang difference sila. Kaya pansinin mo yung nasa column ng forward-based. Pag net position accounting ginagamit, definitely no entry yan pag initial recognition. Unlike option-based, may binayaran ka, okay? Siyempre, credit cash. Credit cash, anong debit mo? Debit, asset. Okay, derivative asset. So yun yung mga examples ng derivatives classified as to whether forward-based and option-based. Next. So paano natin i-account? Initial recognition, alam na natin ito, when the entity becomes a party to the contract, may kontrata ba? Recognize natin. Magkano? So initial measurement. At fair value lang naman yan. Okay, kung may fair value. Kasi pwedeng walang fair value yung derivative. Wala pang fair value. Lalong-lalo na pag initial recognition. Okay, subsequent, madali lang fair value. Fair value. So pwede bang maging positive yung value ng derivative? Yes, asset. Pwede bang mag-negative? Yes, layab naman yan. So pwede maging asset, tapos sa susunod na reporting, kung nandyan pa, pwede maging layab. And changes in fair value is normally presented as part of P&L. Kasi nga, yung derivatives natin, pag hindi mo ginamit yan as a hedging instrument, FVTPL yan. FVTPL. So change in fair value is part of P&L. FS presentation, part of current asset. Sabi ko nga, part ng FVTPL. So part ng current asset. And pag de-recognition, Siyempre, kabaliktaran ng recognition yan. So, you recognize pag nag-expire, pag na-settle, na-collecta, okay, wala nang pakinabang, no future economic benefit. Actually, pag mag-aaral ka ng mga other ng topics mo din so far, dapat kabisado mo ito eh. Unang-una, alam mo yung standard na nag-apply sa isang topic. Standard, definition, kunyari, definition ng derivative. So, standard is PFRS 9, tapos next is anong scope ng PFRS 9, tapos definition ng derivative sa PFRS 9, initial recognition, initial measurement, subsequent, evidence presentation, the recognition, and kung gusto mong idagdag, yung mga disclosure. Kaya lang, don't memorize lahat ng disclosure. Normally, policy, mga ganun lang naman binabanggit dyan. Okay? So, pagkabisado mo yun sa lahat ng mga yung other topics mo na may corresponding accounting standard, malaking bagay yan. Malaking bagay. Okay. So that would be yung accounting. Ngayon, anong gamit ng derivatives? So dalawa, no? Ang gamit ng derivatives. Una, you can use that to speculate. So for speculation, sugal ito, no? Sugal. And the other one is hedging. So kung magpapansin mo yung RO, speculation, sugal nga yan. Okay, it will increase your risk. Kaya lang, baka tanongin, Sir, will you accept increased risk? Obviously, the answer is yes, kung risk averse ka, yes, if I'm compensated by higher return. So higher risk, higher return. Diba? Ito naman hedging, you want to minimize the risk. So this is a risk management technique. So sa speculation, kung natapos niyo yung game theory sa MS, quantitative techniques, parang ito yung maximax. Maximize the maximum possible gain. Pero very risky yan. Speculation nga eh. Pag hedging naman, this is a risk management technique. Part ng internal controls mo ito. Kung naalala mo yung crime ninyo, yung RDON, risk assessment process. Identify mo yung risk and then you manage the risk. Ano yung pwedeng gawin? Pwedeng pumasok ka sa hedging. Okay? I-hedge mo yun using yung derivatives. Kaya ito naman, ito yung minimax. Minimize the maximum possible loss. Alright? So yun yung, So ito, tatas yung risk mo. Pero pag kumita ka, syempre, matas din yung return. Ito naman, you want to minimize your risk. Okay. To give an example ng isang speculation. Speculation. Asan ba yung speculation? Ito na lang. Oops. Mali. Sugal. So, this one. GMA. So dito sa portion na to ata, no, yung sinasabing papasara na yung ADS, anong result? Mag-speculating ba? Ay, baka pag mapasara yun, solo na ng GMA. Bumili ng stocks. Akala tataas. Tumaas na. Pero biglang bumagsak, bumalik din doon sa dating level. So ganun, sugal yan. Mataas yung risk, mataas return. Pag kumita ka, swerte mo. Eh, paano pag hindi mo binantayan? Diba? So, yun ang concept ng higher risk, higher return. Alright? Okay. So, let's go back. So, balik tayo dito sa hedging. So, again, dapat kabisado mo yung concept kasi ng hedging. Para mas maintindihan mo. Yung iba kasi nagsosolve ng problems ng hedging, hindi man lang alam ibig sabihin ng hedging. You want to minimize the risk. So risk management technique yan. Parang kayo, di ba? May risk ba kayo? Yes. May risk ba yung business? Yes. Lahat ng tao, lahat ng business may risk. And dati-rati, COVID is a risk. Okay? Yung totoo nga, nakita mo, no? Affected yung going concern ng ibang company. Okay kayo, may risk ba kayo? Yes. Magmula nung nag-enroll ka ng BSA, may risk agad-agad. And ano yung risk niya na yun? That would be yung risk of failing, risk of failure. Diba? Eh, anong ginagawa mo to minimize yung risk na bumagsak ka? Eh, diba nagka-cram kayo? Okay, hindi ka nag-aaral. Nag-aaral ka na lang 2 hours before your exam, 1 minute before your exam. Okay? Or yung iba, hindi na nanonood ng K-drama. Wow. Yung iba, nag-aaral na, kasabay yun lang panunod ng K-drama. Dati-rati, puro na lang K-drama. Ganun yung concept ng hedging eh. So ayaw mong bumagsak, so nag-aaral tayo. So ayaw mong magkaroon ng malaking loss, anong gagawin mo? I-manage mo yung risk mo niyan. So pwede kang pumasok dito sa hedging relationship. So pag hedging pinag-usapan, okay, or ito na lang. So bago yung hedging, yung ano yung mga kasama, no? So syempre, you want to manage yung risk. And in your PFRS, particularly PFRS 9, so ito yung mga risk, financial risk. So una, you have your credit risk. Ano ba yung credit risk? Risk that the counterparty will not satisfy its obligation. In short, risk ni creditor ito. Ikaw may receivable. Risk na hindi mo makolekta receivable. Creditor's risk. Okay? Risk na hindi makolekta. Nako, yung mga bangko and yung nagpapautang ngayon, no? Mataas yung chance ng default or default risk sa part ni customer hindi makapagbayad. Kaya yung iba, di ba, nag-record ng mataas na provision ng credit loss. Another risk is you have your liquidity risk. So ito naman, risk on the part of liquidator, no? So dito sa debtor naman yan. So kung ikaw yung may utang, risk na hindi mo mabayaran kasi wala kang pera. Kaya baliktaran lang ito, no? Credit risk, ikaw si creditor, yung makolekta. Pag hindi nagbayad naman yung customer, dito naman yon. So, si customer naman ito, hindi makapagbayad. And then you have your market risk. So, syempre, risk naman na hindi related sa credit or liquidity, no? So yung market risk can be because of currency risk na tataas yung fair value, magbabago yung fair value, yung cash flow, okay, because of exchange rate. Yun yung currency risk. So kung nakita mo yung exchange rate nga natin kanina, isang araw, di ba, volatile. So how much more pag ilang araw pa yan, ilang months pa yan. So risk na makakatanggap ka or magbabayad ka ng mas malaki or mas maliit because of changes in the exchange rate. And interest rate risk naman, this is the risk that the fair value of our cash flows will change because of changes in interest rate naman. Okay, interest rate. And another is other price. So, pag hindi currency, pag hindi interest rate, other price risk. Ganun siya. So, credit risk, yan. Tinakbuhan ka ng nagkautang sa'yo. Pero ito parang tinakbuhan ng jowa. Okay. Liquidity risk, hindi ka makapagbayad. Ito, currency, market. Dami na. Ngayon, you're exposed to risk. Alin yung pwedeng i-hedge dito using derivatives? Alin ang pwedeng i-hedge? You cannot hedge credit risk. You cannot hedge credit risk. Risk na tatakbuhan ka ni creditor. Hindi pwede. Okay? So, hindi pwede yan. You cannot also hedge liquidity. Hindi ma-hedge yan. Okay? But, you can hedge market risk. You can hedge market risk. But then again, yung focus ng AFAR is saan? Currency risk. Kung babalikan mo yung syllabus, anong focus? Currency risk. Tama? Currency risk. So yun ang magiging focus natin. Okay. So pag hedging, pinag-usapan, dalawa yan. You have your hedged item. Ito yung exposed to risk. And hedging instrument, ito yung gagamitin mo to minimize, to mitigate, or to manage the risk. So yung hedge item, it can be an asset or liability, recognized asset or liability. It can be an unrecognized firm commitment. It can be a forecast transaction. Okay? Pero pag sa hedging instrument naman, derivatives, and then you have non-derivatives. But most of the time, you will encounter na yung derivatives ginagamit na sa hedging instrument. So most of the time, no? Okay. Ngayon, sino yung pwedeng i-hedge, no? I-hedge ng mga so take note pala, no? Iba yung hedge item sa hedge risk, ha? Yung hedged item, ito yon. Pag hedge risk, balik ka dun sa risk na discuss natin kanina. Currency risk ba yan? Okay, interest rate risk ba yan? Other price risk ba yan? So yun yung pwedeng, yun yung risk. Pag item, ito yung isasagot natin. Okay. So there are three categories of hedge. Actually, parang dalawa. Pero sa standard, tatlo. So fair value hedge. And tingnan mo, no? Paano malalaman na fair value hedge? Kung exposure mo ay variability ng fair value ng recognized asset or liability or previously unrecognized firm commitment or identified portion of such an asset, liability or firm commitment that is attributable to particular risk, again, yung market risk, that eventually will affect your profit or loss. Paano malalaman na cash flow hedge naman yan? So yung variability mo naman is yung cash flows. Okay? So attributable to particular risk, a recognized asset or life such as all or some future interest payment on variable rate debt or highly probable forecast transaction that eventually could affect P&L. Okay, so ito lang yung isang gusto kong i-note nyo kasi yung iba, pag may nakitang cash flow hedge, inaasahan OCI. Pag definition of term, pareho lang yan, no? Eventually will affect P&L. Yung OCI na binabanggit, yung change in fair value of yung derivatives designated as a cash flow hedge na effective. Okay, yun yung pupunta sa OCI. Pero pag definition of terms that can eventually affect the P&L, so P&L pa rin, no? Kahit na cash flow hedge yan. So kung mapapansin natin, pag variability mo is fair value, gusto mong i-hedge, fair value hedge. Variability is cash flow, gusto mong hedge, cash flow hedge. And of course, net investment, this is accounted just like a cash flow hedge. Eh sabi ko, in a way, dalawa lang yung categories eh. Fair value, cash flow. Kasi pag nakita mo to, parang cash flow hedge naman. Naman na yung accounting natin. So that would be yung categories. And yung common question ng mga estudyante, paano ko malalaman kung fair value, cash flow? Actually, sa definition, makikita mo na agad-agad dito eh. Dito na yun. Okay. Pero kung papansinin mo, may common. Recognized asset or liability. Pag nakita mo, firm commitment, fair value yan. Tama ba? Firm commitment, fair value. Tapos ito, common sila eh. Recognized asset or liability. Tapos ito yung isang clue pa. Pag variable rate yung debt mo, cash flow yan. Kasi nga, exposure is variability ng cash flow. Tapos, forecast, transaction. Kaya lang yung problema mo is dito sa asset or liability. Meron siya sa fair, meron din sa cash flow. So mamaya makikita natin how to distinguish. Okay, so let's proceed on sa next slide. So let's identify. Ano kaya ito? Cash flow hedge or fair value hedge? Pag recognized asset or recognized liability, unknown pa, no? Kung ano yung nangyaring transaction dyan. So this can either be fair value or cash flow. So dapat kumpletuhin niyo yung information. Ganun din dito. So this is a still fair value hedge or cash flow hedge. Samantalang pag firm commitment, okay. Ano ba yung firm commitment? Binding agreement na bibili ka in the future. So may kontrata na tayo ngayon, pero bibiliin ko pa yan in the future. So ano yung exposure mo pag may firm commitment, matatag na pangako? Kunyari, nag-commit ka na bibili ka ng 1,000 units or 10,000 units at finix na natin ngayon. Okay, finix na natin. $10 per unit. Anong exposure mo dyan? What's your exposure? Eh, di ba yung exposure mo, babayaran mo ng fix na 10, kaya lang, pagdating ng settlement, hindi natin alam. Baka mamaya yung price pala ni is 9, price is 8. Okay lang kung mas mataas. Yung problema mo is yung mas mababa. So yung gusto nating i-hedge dito is yung variability ng fair value. Binabayaran mo ng 10, yung fair value is iba. Okay, mas worse kung mas maliit yung fair value. Kaya pag firm commitment, that is fair value hedge. Fair value hedge. Okay, so equivalent nito kasi naka-fix na to is 100,000. 100,000 nga ba yun? Tama. 100,000 US dollars. Okay? So ganun, naka-fix yung babayaran mo, yung concern mo is baka yung binabayaran mo is less than 100,000. Kaya lang. So fair value hedge, ha? Kaya lang, pag kinonvert natin ito ng peso, kunyari, Pilipino tayo. So pag kinonvert mo yan ng Philippine peso, hindi natin alam kung magkano. Bakit? Exchange rate, pwedeng tataas, pwedeng bababa. Kaya pag in terms of yung peso, unknown. Unknown. Kaya sabi din ng standard natin, pag firm commitment, default, fair value hedge. So first is fair value hedge yan. Kaya lang, optional, you can designate that as a cash flow hedge. Pero anong condition? Pag related sa foreign currency risk. Foreign currency risk. Tama? Okay, kasi nga, pag ganito yung scenario, foreign currency denominated, yung babayaran mo in peso, pwedeng mataas, pwedeng mababa. So may exposure ka din na cash flow. Pero pag dito lang focus mo sa foreign currency, fair value hedge yan. Kaya pag may nakita ka firm commitment, default, fair value, unless sabihin sa'yo na, i-designate na sa cash flow hedge. Ito naman, forecast transaction, one of the qualification is this should be highly probable. Highly probable. So, mas mataas din sa probable. Kasi pag probable, that would be more likely than not. So, greater than, highly probable. Okay. So, forecast transaction. So, itong forecast transaction, anticipated but uncommitted. Wala pang commitment. Pero ina-anticipate. Pero para mag-qualify, dapat highly probable. So, kanari sabi mo, para maiba naman, gusto ko magsuot ng parong galing US. Okay? Tapos dapat bayaran ko siya other than peso, bayaran ko yung dollar. So I forecast na pagdating ng May 2021 or June 2021, after I will pass the CPA board examination, kailangan ko ng barong galing US. Sa Pilipinas naman talaga yan eh. Okay. Tapos sabi mo, magkukwalify ba sa forecast? Yes. Highly probable na papasa ako kasi naman nag-aaral na ako, di ba? Dati-rate hindi ako nag-aaral. Dati-rate ML lang, K-drama lang, pero ngayon nag-aaral na ako. So highly probable na papasa ako. Okay, kaya lang, yung problema is pagdating nung time na nabibili ka, magkano kaya? So sabi mo, to make it special, gusto mo, dollar yung babayaran mo. So magkano kaya in dollar? Question mark. Pag kinonvert mo pa yun ng peso, magkano yung exchange rate? Question mark pa rin. So yung variability exposure mo dito is cash flow. So ito, lagyan natin, forecast transaction, this is cash flow hedge. Net investment if foreign operation, explain natin ito no, later on. Pero obvious na obvious, sinabi ng standard cash flow hedge yan. Tapos ito, fixed to variable, this is actually in relation to recognized asset or liability. Actually, pwedeng hindi recognized asset or liability. So pag fixed to variable, variable to fixed na interest rate swap, it can be related kasi to recognized loan receivable or loan payable. Yun yung recognized asset, recognized liability. Pero ito, para malaman mo kung ano po yan, fair value hedge or cash flow hedge, you look dun sa original term. Pag original is fixed, ano bang exposure mo pag fixed? Naka-fix yung binabayaran mong interest, naka-fix yung natatanggap mong interest. Ano yung worry mo? Yung changes in fair value because of changes in interest rate. Tama ba? So pag fixed to variable, naka-fix yung binabayaran mo, yung gusto mong i-hedge dito is fair value. Fair value. So this would be fair value hedge. Ito naman, variable yung natatanggap, binabayaran mo, variability exposure is cash flow. You want to hedge that? I-swap mo yung variable rate cash flow hedge. But then again, sa Philippines, hindi uso ito. Normally sa atin, fixed rate. Fixed rate. Okay? So we will explain in the future. So nang mas malalim, bakit fair value, bakit cash flow. Pero pansamantala, fixed. So ganun lang. Okay? So exposure may is fair value. Ito naman, exposure is cash. Ganun lang kasimple. Alright. So alam na natin yung category. So lagay na natin. So recognized asset and liability, firm commitment, fixed to variable, and then cash flow hedge, recognized asset or liability, pero depende pa yan. Dapat bigyan tayo ng additional info. Net investment, cash flow, forecasted, and then firm commitment na currency risk, and variable to fixed. So ito yung mga examples. Okay? Para malaman mo kung cash flow or fair value hedge. So ngayon, let's proceed dito sa basic concepts. Okay, sa mga problems natin. So let's proceed to your exercise 1. Tingnan natin to. So on October 31, bakit Papa? Acquired a machinery that cost from foreign entity 20,000 Hong Kong dollars and is payable in 1 year's time. Bakit Papa's operating currency is the Philippine peso and the current exchange rate is 1 peso is 2.125 Hong Kong dollars. So indirect rate, kung indirect yan, anong gagawin mo mamaya? Divide. Dati-rati kasi ako, no? Sinusubukan ko yung multiply pag walang lumalabas sa choices, divide. Yan ang waste of time yun. Kung alam mong direct, multiply, indirect, divide, di simple lang. So on October 31, 2020, bakit Papa entered into forward contract to acquire 120,000 in 1 year's time? 1 year's time at the current exchange rate. So una is hedge item. Ano ba yung exposure mo dito? Bakit pumasok ka sa hedging relationship? Kasi nga, bumili ka ng machinery, magbabayad ka in 1 year's time. So meron ka ditong nakalantad na, okay, exposed accounts payable. Exposed liability. Yan ang hedged item mo. And sabi nga natin, magkaiba yung hedge item sa hedge risk. Ano ba yung risk mo dito? Since this is a foreign currency denominated transaction, exposure mo ay currency risk. And anong ginamit mong hedging instrument? Derivatives, particularly forward contract. Kaya lang dapat malinaw po kung anong klaseng forward contract kasi pwedeng itanong yan, is it a forward contract to buy or is it a forward contract to sell? So based dito sa given sa problem, this is forward contract to buy. So ilagay natin. Explain natin later on bakit forward contract to buy. So when is the transaction date para sa machinery? So that would be October 31, 2020. Kailan yung settlement date? Kasi sabi niya sa problem, in 1 year's time, this is October 31, 2021. And notional amount, when I say notional amount, that is units of currency, weight, okay, na nakalagay sa kontrata. And malamang yung nakalagay sa kontrata dito, this would be 100,000, 120 Hong Kong dollars. Alright? Tapos, yun yung notional amount, units of currency, weight specified in the contract. Now, yung question 7, what is the notional amount? What is the notional amount? Grabe, no? Notional amount of the notional amount. So pag notional amount of the notional amount, ano po yung intention dito? You need to convert that into peso. Kaya anong gagawin mo? 120. Kaya lang kung i-convert mo ng peso, indirect rate yung binigay. So that would be divide. Divide, di ba? So 120 divided by 1.25, that would be 960,000 pesos. Kasi technically, this is the notional amount pero minsan may mga nakikita kong multiple choice na notional amount of notional amount. So tingnan mo, anong intention? I-convert mo yan ng peso. So that would be yung basic concepts ng derivatives. So let's proceed. Then sa next naman, import transaction. So import. Ganito po yung import. So basahin natin. Mataray purchased equipment from US of A for 100,000 on December 16 with payment due on Feb 14, Valentine's Day. So this is a memorable date for everyone. Memorable. Yung iba may ka-date, yung iba walang ka-date. Pasensya dun sa walang ka-date, no? Na nagtitirik ng kandila. Okay. So on December 16, Mataray also acquired a 60-day forward contract to purchase dollars on February 14. Bakit ka bibili ng dolyar? Pamabayad mo sa utang mo. Direct spot in forward rate is as follows. Prepare the journal entries, magkano yung net effect, etc. etc. So let's analyze muna yung nangyari. Just like yung ginagawa natin kanina. Drawing natin. So this one yan, di ba? So Mataray, bumili ng inventory from US of A. Anong ipapalit ni Mataray? Si import 100,000 US dollars. Okay, ngayon, pagdating ng settlement, anong gagawin ni Mataray? magbabayad siya ng 100,000 US dollar. Pero saan siya kukuha ng 100,000 US dollar? Doon sa foreign currency broker, magbabayad siya ng amount kapalit ng 100,000 US dollar. Okay. Kaya lang anong ma-observe natin dito? What will you observe here? This one. Naka-fixed na. Kanina doon sa analysis natin sa foreign currency denominated transaction, question mark nilagay ko dyan. Eh kasi yung difference dito is you entered into a forward contract, you locked in, you have fixed the amount that you will pay. So nakalagay na sa kontrata, magbabayad ka ng 43.5. Naka-fixed na siya. Kasi nga, you want to manage yung risk. Eh, ayaw mong tumaas. Yung concern mo, kung utang yan, ayaw mong tumaas yung babayaran mo. Okay lang kung bumaba, pero ayaw nating tumaas. Alright? So, finixed mo na siya, inception pa lang ng contract. Inception pa lang ng contract. So, that's the difference. Unlike yung kanina, bahala na attitude ginagawa mo. Eh, kung ano yung exchange rate on the day na pupunta ka sa bangko, yun yung babayaran mo. Pero ngayon, hindi na. Okay? So, again, pag rate yung pinag-usapan, anong rate yung gagamitin natin? Kasi ano ba talaga yung nangyari dito? Binentahan ka eh. So, pag rate yung pinag-usapan, okay? So, to recall, you will use selling. Binentahan ka ng bangko. So, lahat ng rate, spot rate, forward rate, option rate, although walang option rate, option price, pwede ba? Spot price, strike price, okay? Kaya lang, pag forward contract yung pinag-usapan, so ito, pag rates, this is determined from the point of view of foreign currency, the foreign currency broker. Pag forward contract naman, yung ina-account mo, ikaw yung accountant kunyari ni Mataray, so from the point of view of the company. So anong ginawa ng company? Bibili siya. Okay, so anong gagawin natin? To buy. So gano'n, no? Kaya yun yung summary, pag rates, spot, kahit anong rates yan, always selling. Selling. Pag import, pag import. So ilagay natin, import or borrowing. So pag rates yung pinag-usapan, selling. Lahat ng rate na nakikita mo, pag forward contract, that is to buy. Kasi from the point of view of the company. Kaya delikado po yung ginagawa ng iba na binabaliktad. Binabaliktad. Pag daw import, baliktad rin, selling. Okay. Huwag mong babaliktad rin sa forward contract. Kasi mababaliktad yung sagot mo. Alright? So, nakita na natin yung rate na gagamitin. Buti na lang sa forward rate, iisa lang. So rate sa spot, that would be, so since this is import, you will use selling. So i-highlight natin ito. Saan na yung highlight? Hindi lumalabas. Selling. Oops. Highlight. Labas ka na. Okay. Labas. Okay, so that would be selling. Ayaw lumabas ng highlight. Okay, dapat doon pala. Yun, so highlight ko na to. Yun nga lang, dito sa forward, take note yung spot rate. Saan ginagamit yung spot rate? For immediate delivery sa actual na transaction. Ano yung transaction na actual dito? Ito yung pagbili mo ng equipment. Okay? Yung forward rate naman, so para ito sa derivatives na ginamit mo, forward contract to, this one, to buy. Kaya kung mapapansin natin, pag purchase or import, gagamitin ay selling rate, tapos forward contract to buy, gagamitin mo naman ay forward rate. Pero teka, anong rate yung gagamitin? Okay, so ang daming rate, no? So 60, 45, 30 day, madali lang naman yan. So pag December 16, bilangin mo lang. So from December 16 to Feb 14, that would be 60 days. Kaya ito yung gagamitin natin dito. December 31 to Feb 14, that would be 15 days, around 15. So 16, 15, ganun. So that is 45 day, ito yung gagamitin mo. And Feb 14 to Feb 14, talagang dyan yung settlement, same day yan. Same day yan. That would be the same as your spot rate. Tama? Kasi for immediate delivery So pag andun na tayo sa Feb 14, yan na mismo yung araw. Yan yung present. Okay? So yung spot rate and forward rate would be the same. Kaya we can say na yung spot rate, there's also the 0-day or present day na forward rate. So yun yung mga rate na gagamitin natin. Okay? So, prepare the journal entries. Ayun, may mga journal entries na dito. Pero sige. Tanggalin natin. Para makita mo paano nakuha. Okay, so unahin natin. Hedge item. Ano yung hedge item mo? Exposed liability. And hedge item, anong ginagamit? Spot rate. Tama? Tapos you have your forward contract to buy. Ito yung hedging instrument natin. Dalawa yung gagawin natin. You have your gross accounting, okay, or broad position accounting, and then you have your net position accounting. Now, for the transaction, ito, no, yung sinasabi ko, preparatory topic ng hedging is yung transaction. Kasi sa totoo lang, i-apply mo yung knowledge mo dito sa foreign currency denominated transaction. Okay, so anong binili? Equipment, debit equipment, credit accounts payable, anong gagamitin? Historical rates, so simply this is 4,300,000. So this is 4,300,000. Tapos, equipment is non-monetary at cost kung silent, unless ibigay yung fair value. So non-monetary at cost, hindi nagagalawin yung value. And then accounts payable, this is monetary. So we will adjust that at 45. So from 43 naging 45, so 2 times 100,000 ba ito? Okay, tama. So dadagdagan mo yung accounts payable. And then, XL yan, or exchange loss, saan po ito? Obviously, that would be part of P&L. Okay, next. Anong gagawin sa settlement? So magbabayad ka, di ba? So isarado mo muna yung utang. Magkano yung carrying value ng utang? So that's 4,500,000. Ito na yun. 4,300,000 plus 200, or simply that's 4,500,000. Tapos magkano yung babayaran natin? Cash. So that is 4,550. 4,550. Yan. May difference sa debit side, 50. Siyempre, loss yan. Okay, so debit forex loss, 50, P&L. So ito pala, no, some would call this is undesignated hedge, or simply, pag undesignated hedge, parang ano pa yan? Parang fair value hedge. Lahat na ng changes, P&L. Okay? So ito, parang normal accounting. No? Normal accounting din pala ito. So dun sa forex transaction, this is your normal accounting. Pag pumunta na tayo dito, this would be P&L lahat-lahat. So let's start dun sa gross position. Normally, wala ito sa mga libro ninyo. Yung nasa libro ninyo is itong net. So dito sa gross settlement accounting. So pag gross, debit FCP or FCR, receivable, credit FCP, payable. Ngayon, anong usapan dito? Di ba may kontrata kayo, forward contract to buy. So bibili ka ng dollar. Anong ibabayad mo? Peso. So pwedeng foreign currency receivable yan, and forward contract payable. Okay? So siyempre, pag forward contract, anong gagamitin mo? Forward rate. And yung naka-highlight dito is 4. So let's prepare the journal entries. Medyo naputol kanina. Dito sa forward contract. So debit FCR, you will receive yen. So this is 4,350. Ito yung naka-fix sa contract. Okay, and then this is also 4,350. And then let's adjust. Magalaw. Yun. Okay. And of course, you will receive dollar and you will pay peso. Kaya lang ano yung naka-fix sa contract? Ito, yung babayaran mo in peso. And para clue natin, madaling matandaan, dugtungan mo lang ngayon ng IED. Ixt pala, Ixt. Okay? So, fixed. Kasi pera natin ay peso. Anong babayaran mo? Sorry. Sorry about that. Anong pera mo? Peso. Anong babayaran mo? Peso. Kailang bakit ayaw? Yun. So, ito yung fixed. Fixed. Pera mo peso, babayaran mo peso. Siyempre, kahit anong mangyari sa exchange rate, okay, it will remain at 4,350. Yan yung nakalagay sa kontrata. Yan yung tinatawag na forward rate that was included in the contract. However, every balance sheet date or every reporting date, you need to update the fair value of the forward contract. And anong in-update natin? Yung FCR. So pagdating ng December 31, magkano na yung value niya? For the 6. So dadagdagan natin ng 250. So debit FCR, tumas yung value ng 250,000 or that is 2.5. Tama po ba yun? Okay. And credit is gain. But take note, since this is undesignated hedge or just like a fair value hedge, so Forex gain part of P&L. Alright, so ganun lang kasimple. And then, pagdating ng settlement date, dalawa po yan, kaliwaan. Anong obligasyon natin sa broker, debit FCP, nag-usap kayo na magbabayad ka ng fixed amount of 4,350. Okay. Anong ipapalit po sa'yo? Cash na US dollar. So ito yung ipapalit. So yan, magkano yung value ng cash dollar na matatanggap mo? Diba? That is the same as the spot rate here. So 4,550. And then, i-credit mo yung running balance ng FCR, that is 4,600,000. And any difference, meron tayong 50,000 na debit, that is Forex loss. Again, this will be part of profit or loss. Part of profit or loss. Okay? Yan. So, i-adjust natin yung 9, 10. Kaya. Okay. So, that would be yung journal entry. Diba? So, madali lang matandaan. FCR, you will receive dollar. Okay? FCP, ito yung babayaran mo sa broker. Yan yung naka-fixed na yan. So, anong ginagalaw-galaw natin? So, what's the item that you are galawizing? Okay? That would be the FCR. And then, dun sa settlement, so kaliwaan lang, you will pay yung obligasyon mo peso, you will receive the dollar. And it's good to note na ito po, pag peso, di ba? So pag ito FCR dollar, so bangga mo lang siya. So ibanggawan lang natin, no? So tama ba? Okay, tama ba? Aware. Alright. So ganun lang yung sa gross position accounting. Okay. Kaya lang syempre, ito hindi mo nakikita ito sa libro. So, yung most likely nakikita ninyo is ito, yung net position. Ito kasi, no, general rule, asset and liability should not be offset with each other. Kasi mahirap maintindihan kung net asset lang nakikita natin. So, normally hindi ino-offset yan. So, hindi po siya ino-offset. Tama ba? Okay. And may mga exception na pwedeng i-offset yung asset and liability. Unang-una, past 12, you have your current tax and deferred tax asset and liability. Pangalawa is you have your past 19, fair value of planned asset and benefit obligation. And past 32, presentation of financial instrument. You have your derivatives. No? So yung derivative, pwedeng maging asset, pwedeng maging liab, pwedeng i-offset. So kung titingnan mo, pag gross accounting, FCR, FCP, pareho namang nagpo-pertain yan sa isang transaction. So might as well i-offset natin. And since this is a forward-based, two-sided yung exposure, wala kang binabayaran. So dito, debit, no. And credit, entry. O, diba? No entry. Okay, kasi wala naman talagang value. Tapos ito, pagdating dito sa December 31, ano ulit yung in-update natin? So obviously, this one. No? So from 43.5, you will pay, you will receive yung foreign currency valued at 46. So, tumas yung value ng 250. So, yung DA, debit, ano po yan? Hindi Department of Agriculture yan. So, that is derivative asset. Para generic, I will use derivative asset, derivative life na lang. DA, DL. Unless you want to indicate kung ano yung saktong account title niya, no? Okay, so derivative asset, credit gain. And again, P&L, no? And then, settlement, magkano yung matatanggap nating foreign currency? Kaliwaan kasi ito, 4550. Okay, ano yung usapan ninyo? Yung nakalagay sa contract, you will pay 4,350,000. Naka-fix na yan, tama ba? And then you close the carrying value of the derivative asset and any difference that would be forex gain or loss, so 50,000. So if you'll observe, same lang naman yung amount. No? Pero ako, mas madaling mag-analyze pagdating sa gross position. Okay, pag naka-net position ka kasi, medyo parang madami ka pang iisipin eh. Diba? And there are some questions talaga. May mga nakikita ko minsan na gross position. Yung tinatanong, kaya maganda, kabisaduhin mo ito. Wala namang masama eh. At saka makakatulong sa iyo ito para maintindihan mo paano yung accounting ng net. Or ano yung accounting niya pag net yung ginamit mo. Okay, so what are the possible questions? Simple lang naman, yung mga posibleng tanong. Ito, forex transaction, magkano gain or loss dito? Gain or loss? Ito isasagot mo. Tapos sa P&L, magkano yung equipment? Obviously, historical yan kasi non-monetary at cost. Magkano accounts payable December 31? Simply closing or current rate. Tapos dito sa derivative, gain or loss. So gain or loss. Yung tatanong dyan, magkano yung value ng derivative? Pag inception ng contract, wala. Mag-offset or dito, walang entry. December 31, magkano yung fair value ng derivative? And identify whether it is an asset or liab. Obviously, that is asset, derivative, asset. And Feb 14, Valentine's Day, magkano yung fair value ng derivative? Asset ba or liab? Most of the students will answer 0. Kaya lang, before settlement, may value ang derivative. Merong value yan. And magkano yung value niya? Okay, so ganito, balikan natin. Basic accounting. Pag gain or loss, income statement, and di ba income statement, yung title niya is for the period. And then, ito yung gain or loss during the period. Pag balance sheet, as of. So pwede mong idaan doon. Okay, kasi ito, magkano yung gain or loss during the period? 250. So anong meron? Okay, asset, related sa asset. Gain related sa asset, loss related sa liab. Kaya lang pag derivative asset, derivative liab, since as of yan, pwedeng gamitin mo to. Forex gain. Okay, magkano forex gain dito? 250. Magkano forex loss dito? 50. Magkano yung net forex gain? Or cumulative gain? 200. And 200 is related sa asset, tama ba? Okay, so therefore, you have a derivative asset before settlement of 200,000. So yun ang pwedeng isang itanong. Eh, dito sa number 1, magkano yung effect on the income statement? So magkasama na. Okay, so para ma-analyze natin, ilagay ko dito ha. Gain or loss hedge item at saka hedging instrument total. Pag kaka-record mo yan, wala. So hedge item, this is 200. So lagyan natin ng open and close para ipakita natin na loss. Pag gain or loss dito, this is 50,000. Tapos this would total to 50,000. Tama? Okay, so kung walang hedging instrument, walang pinasok na hedging transaction, total loss mo is 250. Kano naman yung gain or loss dito? So this is 250,000 gain and then this is 50,000 loss. Okay, so total gain or loss related to the forward contract or hedging instrument, that's 200,000. So pag net effect, i-offset mo lang yan. Kaya sagot natin sa number 2. What's your answer number 2? Okay, net effect daw, including. So that is 50,000. Okay, kaya lang masyadong malaki yung R niya, so tanggalin ko ha. Okay, so 50,000 yung sagot natin sa number 2. And then for number 3, magkano yung overall effect? Sige, tuloy natin. So this one, this is 100,000. Okay, net effect is 50,000. So overall effect, your answer is 50,000 net loss. Kung hindi man net loss, makikita natin sa choices net decrease. Net decrease. Okay, so net loss or net decrease. All right, so that's your answer. Number 2 is 50,000 net increase or net gain. And number 3, your answer is 50,000 net loss or net decrease. And effective ba yung ginawa mong hedging? Nagtagumpay ka ba sa ginawa mong hedging? Yes or no? Answer is, tingnan natin. Kung walang hedging, magkano sana yung gain or loss mo total? 250,000. But because of the hedging instrument, na-minimize yung loss mo ng 200,000, and because of this 200,000, magkano na lang yung net loss natin? 50,000. So, naging matagumpay ka ba sa pagpasok sa hedging transaction? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Alright? And ito bang 50,000 na ito? Can you determine 50,000 as early as December 16? What do you think? Can you determine this 50,000 as early as December 16, inception of the contract? Yes or yes? Or yes or yes? The answer is yes. Okay, tingnan mo to. Hindi coincidence. Magkano ba yung utang natin? 4.3. Yan ang naka-record, right? Anong ginawa natin? You entered into a contract, finixed mo yung amount ng babayaran mo at 4,350. Kaya lang, teka, baka sabihin mo, Sam, hindi ba tayo TANGA na yung utang mo ay 4,3 tapos isa-set mo, babayaran mo ng mas mataas na 50,000, hindi ka ba TANGA? The answer is no. Kasi nga, okay, baka syempre, sabi ng financial analyst mo, may mga reliable information kayo na posibleng tumaas yung exchange rate as high as 70. Ayaw mo magbayad ng 7 million. Okay? So, tataas at tataas. Parang ganun yung lumalabas eh. Tataas at tataas yung exchange rate, direct rate. Eh, may utang ka. Ayaw mong magbayad ng mas malaki. So, as early as now, maghanap ka ng counterparty, foreign currency broker na iba yung expectation. Okay, sabi ng counterparty, hindi tataas yan ng 70. Okay, siguro bababa actually yan. So, okay lang na pumasok ako, papatulan ko yan. Ibebenta ko sa kanya ng 43.5. Pero baka yung actual niyan is 42. Gano'n, no? So, iba yung expectation niya. Okay, so ikaw naman, expectation mo tataas. So, you entered into forward contract and then finixed mo na at 4,350. So, that would be your total loss. Total loss. Okay? So, yung ginawa mo, ayaw mong magbayad ng mas malaki, you want to minimize yung risk mo, you want to minimize yung loss, minimax, sabi nga natin, yun yung concept ng hedging. So, you want to manage the risk. So, kung hindi kayang i-eliminate, at least mabawasan yung risk. Kaya nagtagumpay ka. Kasi kung sakasakali, and pwede rin tanungin po ito, no? Kung sakasakali na wala kang hedging instrument na kinuha para i-hedge yung yung exposure mo, magkano sana yung total gain or loss mo? 250. But because of this, nagkaroon tuloy tayo ng net loss na lang of 50,000. So that's the concept of hedging. You want to minimize the risk. You want to minimize your loss. Alright? So, ganun lang yung concept. Kaya lang baka tatanungin mo, Sir, kung kaya nating ma-determine ito as early as the inception of the contract, bakit pa natin ginagawa yung entry na ito? Bakit pa tayo nagpapakahirap na kung ano-ano yung pinaggagawa? Okay. So, bakit? Kung kaya mo naman palang ma-determine, bakit? Bakit? Okay, so obviously, teka, paano ba ito kanina? Saan tanggalin ko na lang to para okay, so kung ano yung reason bakit natin hinihiwalay yan is of course we have two items. Okay, kailangan i-account yung hedge item and hedging instrument as well as yung isang concept dito is yung going concern natin, particularly yung time period, di ba? So yung artificial or yung indefinite life na yan subdivided into artificial point. So we need to prepare financial reports every period. So kunyari annually yan or quarterly. So kung magkano yung gain doon sa isang quarter or doon sa isang period, i-report mo dito. Kano yung gain or loss dito? Dito siya. Okay? Kano yung gain dito? Magkano yung gain dito? So ayun. So allocating lang. Kailan mo siya may incur? Kailan dapat i-report as loss or as gain? Alright. So that would be yung analysis natin. And then, isa pa, no, na pwede natin gawin, okay, ito, no, feeling ko, malaking bagay ito, makakatulong ito sa inyo, okay, lalong-lalo na sa derivatives at saka, pwede ito, no, forward contract and futures contract, as well as you have your forward futures, tama, forward futures, kahit ano po yan, mapa-cash flow, speculation, or mapa-fair value hedge, okay, net investment hedge, you can use this table. Okay, so yung format natin, so ilagay mo dito yung date, ilagay mo FCR, and ano yung FCR? For forward contract receivable, foreign currency receivable, you will receive di ba yung matatanggap natin dito is dollar. And then yung gagamitin mong forward rate dito is yung forward rate remaining. Okay? So forward rate remaining, samantalang ito, yung babayaran mo is peso, this is forward rate original. So try natin i-move ng konti. Okay. Ayun, so ano yung forward rate original? Yun yung nakalagay sa kontrata, yan yung forward rate ng inception ng contract. Malamang ito yung nakasulat sa kontrata ninyo. Naka-fixed na po yan at 4,350. So this is fixed at 4,350, 4,350, 4,350, fixed na yan. So pwede mong lagyan ng imaginary, ay meron pala, underline na natin. Alright. Ito naman, forward rate remaining. So ito yung ginagalaw-galaw mo, di ba? Kasi ito, fixed yan. So dugtungan ulit natin, fixed. Okay, so fixed. So ito, forward rate remaining, yun yung bibilangin natin ilang araw hanggang settlement. Kaya di ba, ginamit ko 60 day, 45 day, and same dito. So yung remaining is 43.5. So inception of contract, laging pareho yan. Oops. Okay, bakit may underline na din dito? Tanggalin natin. Okay, tapos magkano dito? That is 46, right? So 4,600,000. Tapos this one, spot rate, pareho na siya. Eh minsan na yung spot rate or yung forward rate pagdating ng settlement, some would place NA. Okay, pero alam naman natin that's the same as the spot rate kasi spot rate for immediate delivery na. So any difference pag positive derivative asset, okay, pag negative derivative live, so dito derivative asset 0, inception wala. This is 250. And this is 200,000 positive sa asset. Previous value 0, previous value dito 0, previous value is 250. Okay, and again, just like in your diba, table mo sa construction contract or table natin sa saan pa ba yun? You have your share-based payment. Ito yun ito yun. Okay? And ito, huwag mong kakalimutan yung rules sa addition and subtraction of positive and negative numbers, especially pag may nag-negative dyan, delikado ka. So ito, walang gain or loss. And this one, positive, that is gain. P&L yan kasi parang fair value hedge or some would prefer it as a undesignated hedge, as this is 50,000 loss. Now, comparing this dun sa entry natin kanina. Tingnan mo. Oops, gumagalaw yung arrow. Okay. So magkano ba yung gain or loss? Inception? 0. Kaya no entry dito or actually ito din yun, nag-offset. Kano yung gain or loss naman dito? That would be 250. 250. Tama? Derivative asset, 250. Okay? And then, pagdating dito sa settlement, magkano yung derivative asset, derivative layap? Sabi ko kanina, 200. Di ba, paano natin nalaman yung 200 pag based lang sa entry? Cumulative net gain. Net gain. Eh tama ba yung sinasabi natin? Yes. And magkano yung gain or loss dito? That is 50 loss. 50 loss. Pareho lang naman dito. Okay? Ganun lang siya kasimple. And sabi ko nga, pwedeng gamitin ito sa speculation, cash flow hedge, fair value hedge, or net investment hedge. That would be the same. And sa totoo lang, yung isa pang gusto kong i-note, kung ano yung total or yung fair value ng derivative, kung asset po yan, yung fair value ng derivative na yan, so since asset, yan yung magiging total offset dun sa loss mo. So pareho po yun. Okay, ito yun yung value ng asset, yun yung magiging total. Actually, ito din yung gain or loss mo So cumulative net gain, that's the value of the derivative asset. Yun yung mag-offset doon sa total loss natin na 250,000. So, ganun lang kasimple ang derivatives and hedging. Okay? So, yung napag-usapan natin is import and then undesignated hedge na in a way, fair value hedge din actually ito Kasi nga, yung lahat ng gain or loss natin sa P&L. So, hedge items, spot rate, kasi actual na transaction yan. Ito naman na forward contract or hedging instrument. Forward rate kasi, okay, yan yung derivative natin. Doon mo gagamitin ng forward rate. Right? So, ganun po. Ganun lang, kasimple. I-apply mo lang. Paikot-ikot lang yan, no? So, pag may encounter ko yung multiple choice, halos ganyan lang din yung tinatanong. Iba lang yung amount, yung iba naka-paragraph form, okay? Iba yung pangalan, iba yung font size, iba yung font. Yan lang naman yung iibahin eh. Okay, so dyan lang iikot yung derivatives and hedging. Kaya kung master mo actually, kahit ito lang, yung forex transaction, tapos paano i-account yung derivatives na to, solve ka na. Okay, idadagdag mo lang yung consideration sa cash flow hedge. Cash flow hedge kasi pagdating sa fair value hedge, wala tayong problema dito, no? So lahat na P&L. Kaya kung lahat P&L, wala kang pag-uusapan na effective, ineffective. So pag sa fair value hedge, there's no such thing as effective, ineffective. Kasi in a way, lahat po ng mga yan ay sa P&L. So sa cash flow hedge lang, may effective, ineffective. Doon tayo mag-analyze ano ba yung effective, ano ba yung ineffective. Okay? And then, paano naman pag-export? Paano naman po pag-export? Okay. So, paano pag-export? Ito yung itsura, no? And kung mapapansin mo, iba naman yung presentation ng table. And yung malala pa, meron ka pang selling forward, meron kang buying forward, meron selling. So, ang daming araw, no? Pero nabanggit ko kanina, doon sa analysis natin, di ba? Na yung kanina, no? Pag import, anong gagamitin? Rate, lahat ng rate, ha? Mapa-forward, spot rate, selling. Anong gagamitin na forward contract? To buy. Tapos pagdating naman dito sa export kasi ito, no? So, nabasa niyo na. So, sold, export yan. Okay. So, anong gagamitin natin na rate? Kung sold, lahat ng rate, pag spot, buying. Tapos, syempre, gagamitin mong contract is forward contract to sell. Tapos, yung rate na gagamitin natin sa forward rate, that would be buying. Tama? Buying pa rin. Kaya dito, this is, you will use for 8.5 here. As June 30 to July 15, that is 15 days, right? 15 days. Kaya you will use for 7.3 here. And pagdating ng settlement, the buying, the spot rate and the forward rate would be the same. Okay? So, requirement, journal entries, kaya lang mukhang mahaba na ata yung discussion natin. I think I exceeded 2 hours. Okay. So, madami talaga no yung mga kailangang pag-usapan dito. So, titigil muna ako doon, ha? So, yung ibang mga bagay-bagay pag-usapan natin yan doon sa discussion natin sa pag nag-enroll na kayo. So, balik lang ako doon sa PowerPoint natin. Okay. So, hindi nakikik-operate yung export natin kanina. Okay. So, hindi nakikik-operate yung internet at saka yung laptop. Yon. So ito yung analysis natin kanina. Okay, so ito yung exercise number 3. So may analysis din dapat tayo dito. Okay, so ito yung analysis sana sa export. Yun. Tapos gagawin sana natin yung solution. Okay, so Yan. So, tigil muna tayo doon, pero ito, actually, ito pa yung mga hindi natin na-discuss. Discuss ko sana yung sa export and forward contract to sell, pero wala na tayong time. Okay. So, yun yung isang idadagdag pa natin in our future discussion. So, what if export yan, forward contract to sell? And what if binigyan ka ng discount rate? Kasi, di ba, derivative should be measured at fair value. So, pag binigyan ka ng discount rate, how will you determine? So, dito, pag may discount rate, magkaiba na yung fair value ng derivative at saka yung tinatawag na nominal value. Magkakaroon na ng nominal value, magkakaroon ng nominal value tapos together with yung fair value. Magkaiba na yon pag merong discount rate. So yung table na pinresent ko kanina, medyo madadagdagan po yon pag binigyan ng discount rate. So, speculation. How to account the speculation? Basically, pag alam mo na yung accounting ng derivative natin, okay na yan yung sample natin na forward contract to buy kanina. Pero pag-uusapan natin, okay, kailan mo gagamitin forward contract to buy? When will you use forward contract to sell? So pag ba, your expectation is the foreign currency will strengthen, ano pa yung gagamitin mo? Is it forward contract to buy or forward contract to sell? Okay? So pag-usapan din natin. And then fair commitment, so fair value hedge, yan yung default, right? So what if dinesignate yan as a cash flow hedge? So didiscusin natin in the future. Forecast transaction, definitely this is a cash flow hedge. And how to account net investment in a foreign operation. And we will also discuss, okay, paano pag non-derivative yung ginamit as a hedging instrument. Okay? So mga Rayo babies, that would be all for today. Yun lang yung nakayanan ng powers natin. Definitely, sa mga future discussion natin, di-discuss natin lahat. Okay, so yung discussion natin sa Rio can be like this. Sa akin, can be yung parang physical na binivideohan lang. So yung parang nasa classroom ka din. Nga lang, pinapanood mo lang. Okay, or ganito din yung discussion pero siguro mas high-tech na yung gagamitin kong animation. So yun ang magiging discussion natin, no? Okay? Siyempre, may separate kayo, may ibibigay sa inyo separate na materials. So pag sa afar, no? So tips ko lang sa inyo, pag afar po pinag-usapan na since procedural lang afar, okay, dapat kabisado natin yung basic accounting process, basic accounting equation, basic mathematics, particularly algebra, di ba? Yung simpleng addition, subtraction of negative and positive number, dapat kabisado natin. Okay? So, yung ibang topics kasi sa FAR, less concepts, more on procedures. So, pag more on procedures, basic lang talaga yung gagamitin mo. Plus, minus, divide, multiply. O gano'n lang siya, no? So, aralin mo yung concept, alamin mo yung procedure, and then anong next na gagawin? Mag-practice. Okay, kaya yung ideal setup actually is 1/3 pakikinig sa reviewer. Okay, and then 2/3 dapat yan yung on your own, yan yung nagsusolve ka, nagbabasa ka, nagpa-practice ka. So to obtain yung best results o para sisiw na lang sa'yo yung CTA board examination, dapat ganun yung gawin mo. Okay? And before, ako medyo nahihirapan din ako sa Forex nang nag-aaral ako. Pero as a former student, na-try ko nang mahirapan, nakita ko na paano siya mapadali. Okay? So, yun yung mga experience ko din, no? Okay, yung mga ginawa ko para medyo nadalian ako dito sa topic na to or sa AFAR. Kasi if I'm mistaken, AFAR is my second lowest na subject, no? Pero ngayon, isa siya sa favorite na subject ko. And sana maging favorite subject niya din yung AFAR, favorite subject na aralin, hindi favorite subject na i-skip. Okay? So that would be all, mga future CPAs. Okay, so stay safe and study hard. It's worth it. See you.